Chapter 786. Didn't we agree on it that day? We won't make a fuss in the future. You're a grown-up now. At least you have to avoid it. Xiaoqin said. Yeah, didn't we agree that if something were to happen between us, it would have happened when we were young? Why would it wait until now? Xiao stuck out her tongue. Brother, you think too much. I just miss you a little bit. Okay. Xiaoqin had no choice but to nod and agree. As for Tang, I can only wait. Why do I see that you seem to be very reluctant? Xiao saw Xiaoqin's perfunctory attitude, and suddenly she was a little unhappy. What's wrong? There are many boys in our class who want to sleep with me. You're the only one who slept with me and you look embarrassed. How can it be the same? Xiaoqin glared at Xiao. I'm not them. This time I came back, I wanted to accompany Tang. I didn't spend much time with her last time. What? Yes, Sister Tang isn't here. She went home. Xiao said. She said that she had something to do and had to go home. She left you a letter and left. Otherwise, why would you Xiaoqin play with me every day? I'm so annoyed with him. Tang left? Xiaoqin was stunned. When? Why didn't I know? It was shortly after you left. Xiao said. She said that you went to perform a task. She was afraid to disturb you, so she didn't tell you and left you a letter. We didn't ask too much. She said that she had some private matters and left. So? Xiaoqin frowned. Tang said that she wanted to break up with him. Although they talked it out later, Xiaoqin still felt that Tang seemed to have something on her mind. He didn't expect her to leave. But didn't she say that she was misses you? Why did she leave you Xiaoqin here? Xiao was annoyed. Yes, the letter is in Sister Tang's room. We didn't touch it. Xiao said, I'll accompany you to get it later. All right. Xiaoqin nodded and took out his mobile phone. He dialed Tang's number, but the phone was turned off. It seemed that Tang didn't turn it on. Xiaoqin's heart was slightly gloomy. Did she really want to break up with him and avoid him? Thinking of this, Xiaoqin could not help but quicken his pace. Xiao pouted and followed behind. She felt that Xiaoqin cared a lot about these girls except for her. They came to Tang's previous villa one after another. Xiaoqin was sitting in the yard practicing martial arts. When he saw Xiaoqin coming back, his eyes suddenly lit up and he ran over quickly. Brother Xiao, you're back. Yes. Xiaoqin nodded and said, Are you used to it? It's good. It's better than my own home. Xiaoqin said. Xiaoqin was a little speechless. He wanted to change the topic and then let Xiaoqin go back to his own home, but he didn't expect that this guy's words made Xiaoqin speechless. He couldn't continue the conversation. He couldn't force him to leave, right? Moreover, Xiaoqin had helped him a lot in the past. Without Xiaoqin, he didn't know if he could deal with the Quishan sect. So Xiaoqin could only say, That's good. Is there anything on your Yu family's side? Yu family? It's good. Now they are fully cooperating with the Xiao family. Xiaoqin said, In fact, I don't need to do these things. I just need to shock them. Now they don't dare to be interested in those business matters. They just want to be a quiet little girl, handsome man. Oh. Xiaoqin didn't continue this topic. Did Tang leave? Yes, she said she would go back and have a look. I didn't ask for details. Xiaoqin didn't seem to care much about Tang's affairs. She left a letter in her bedroom. We don't have the key. She said you have it. Me? Xiaoqin didn't have the key either, but Tang probably meant that Xiaoqin could open the door without the key. He walked over and opened the door of Tang's room. The room was very clean, and the furnishings were almost the same as the previous rented house. There was a letter on the desk. Xiaoqin picked it up and saw the words for Xiaoqin on it. Xiaoqin tore open the envelope. Inside was a plain and unadorned letter paper. On it was written, Xiaoqin, I have thought about it carefully. We'd better separate. I don't think we are very suitable for each other. I said that you have changed, but it may be that I have changed. You can say that I am selfish or heartless. Anyway, I want to leave. Don't look for me. I won't let you find me. Maybe one day I will come back to you after thinking it through. But not now. You don't have to be sad. You have so many girlfriends now. You don't need me. Well, even if we can't be lovers, we are still good buddies. Tang. The date of the letter was just a few days after Xiaoqin left. The letter was very short, but the message was very clear. Xiaoqin sighed. In fact, he had guessed this result before he opened the letter. Tang still wanted to separate from him. Although Xiaoqin couldn't figure out the reason, he still respected Tang's choice. After all, Tang wanted to end this relationship, so there was no need for him to pester her. But Xiao Chen still wanted to talk to Tang Tang face to face. He wanted to know the reason. Even if he acquiesced to Tang Tang's choice, he also wanted to know if there was any other situation. I'm going out. Xiao Chen said to Yu Xiaochuan and Xiao Xiao. You're going to see Tang Tang? Xiao Xiao asked. Yes, I'm going to the Tang family. Xiao Chen nodded. Brother Xiao, let me go with you. Yu Xiaochuan said. Okay. Thinking that Yu Xiaochuan was the legitimate son-in-law of the Tang family, what would happen if he went? Although Xiao Chen wasn't afraid of anything now, he still had to save some face for the Tang family. I want to go too. Xiao Xiao said. Then let's go together. Xiao Chen wasn't going to fight, so he agreed to go together. After leaving the Xiao family, they went all the way to the Tang family. Outside the Tang family's door, they saw Yu Xiaochuan in the car, so they didn't stop him. They smoothly arrived at the Tang family's parking lot. However, as soon as the three of them got out of the car, the Tang family rushed over. Now both Yu Xiaochuan and Xiao Chen were hot figures in Songning. The Tang family couldn't wait to curry favor with them. Haha, Xiaochuan and Xiao Chen are here. Master Tang walked over with a smile. Xiao Chen looked at Master Tang and felt a little strange. Why is this guy's temperament exactly the same as Yu Xiaochuan's, and why does he speak like a girl? Hello, Grandpa Tang. We're here to see Tang Tang, Xiao Chen said. Tang Tang? Master Tang was stunned. He looked at Xiao Chen strangely and said, Didn't she tell you? She said she wanted to go abroad to relax. She's traveling, so she's not at home. Oh, Tang Tang told you that before? Xiao Chen was stunned. It seemed that Tang Tang didn't go home. Yes, she said she wanted to go abroad to relax. After all, she is now Mrs. Yu and she is still living with the Xiao family. We can't interfere, so we didn't say anything. Master Tang nodded. Did something happen? It's nothing. I went out earlier, so I don't know much about the situation. Xiao Chen shook his head. I'm just here to confirm this. Oh, then please come in. I'll get someone to bring some refreshments and fruits. Master Tang said. Xiao Chen, I heard that you are now the Deputy Director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Yes. One look at Master Tang and Xiao Chen and he knew that this guy wanted to curry favor with him. You're also the sect leader of the demon sect in the outer martial world? Master Tang continued to ask. It's just a title, Xiao Chen said lightly. Oh haha, then the Tang family will be in Xiao Chen's care from now on. What Master Tang was most worried about was that the mental cultivation method he practiced would be exposed. The Tang family's main branch, the Jinwu Tang family and the outer martial world's Tang family, were both orthodox sections. Once they found out that Master Tang practiced the chrysanthemum treasured book, they would definitely be at odds with each other. When that happened, it wouldn't be easy for Master Tang to rely on the demon sect. Now that he had Xiao Chen's recommendation, it would be much easier. So, he wanted to take this opportunity to build a good relationship with Xiao Chen. Actually, he knew that Tang Tang and Xiao Chen had an unclear relationship. He also knew that Yu Xiaochuan was just a nominal grandson-in-law. Seeing how this guy was fawning over Xiao Chen even more than himself, Tang Tang and Xiao Chen had probably always been together and he was just a shield. Thinking of this, Master Tang felt that Xiao Chen should at least give him some face. So he asked him to take care of Tang Tang. Oh, there's definitely no problem. Although Xiao Chen didn't have a good impression of the Tang family, when he thought of the days he spent together with Tang Tang, taking care of the Tang family was something he could do. That's good, that's good. Master Tang felt relieved and invited the three of them into the house. I won't be sitting. It's getting late, we'll be heading back first. Xiao Chen didn't see Tang Tang, so his interest waned and he didn't want to pretend to be polite anymore. But, okay then. Seeing that Xiao Chen didn't have much interest, Master Tang thought that he and Tang Tang had quarreled. He thought that Tang Tang didn't know any better. With Xiao Chen's current status, why would he quarrel? Thinking up to this point he said, Young Master Xiao, then I won't hold you back. If you have time, come visit our Tang family more often. Actually, compared to Xiaochuan, your relationship with the Tang family is closer. After speaking, Master Tang made a you-know-what-I-mean expression. Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yu Xiaochuan didn't mind at all. Seeing that Xiao Chen had left, he couldn't be bothered to say goodbye to Master Tang and directly followed behind Xiao Chen. Previously, he was afraid that it would affect the Yu family and his identity. But now he only wanted to be together with Xiao Chen. Since Xiao Chen was part of the demon sect, then he would naturally belong to the demon sect from now on. After speaking, the three of them boarded the car and left the Tang family home. Along the way, Xiao Chen's mood was a bit gloomy. It seemed that Tang Tang was indeed trying to avoid him. But where did Tang Tang go? From Xiao Chen's perspective, Tang Tang shouldn't be away for too long. Firstly, she needed to go to school. Secondly, she didn't have any money on her. Chapter 787. At night in the inner martial arts world. This place was also commonly known as the small ancient martial arts world. This was a paradise, a place where there were only real martial arts sections. The sects here all claimed to be the orthodox sects of the martial arts world. They were sects that had been passed down from ancient times. They were the true kings of the martial arts world that had evolved from the previous ancient sections. The Awakening sect was a powerful sect in the inner martial arts world. It was also one of the major demonic sects in the inner martial arts world. In the Awakening sect, a sect meeting was currently being held. Sitting at the conference table was the sect master of the Awakening sect, Situ Qitian. In fact, the Awakening sect was not called the Awakening sect before. It was just that the current sect master was more powerful, and there were also some historical reasons. Situ Qitian did not get along with the previous sect master, and his position was almost usurped. Therefore, after taking over the position of sect master, he changed the name of the sect to the Awakening sect. He was also an existence that belonged to the founder of the sect. Sitting around him were the deputy sect master, Wang Duanli, Elder Yen Mind, and another elder of the Awakening sect called Ma Ipi. Elder Yen, look at the Kuei Mountain sect that you chose. What kind of thing is it to be so incompetent? Situ Qitian was very annoyed. The Kuei Mountain sect kept getting into trouble. Ever since Elder Yen chose it as the spokesperson of the outer martial arts world, it had almost never done anything of note. This. Elder Yen was also very guilty and apologetic. In the previous inspection, Ma Ipi was a very shrewd person. I didn't expect him to be so incompetent. He couldn't even handle such a small matter. He's a selfish, overcautious man. Elder Ma Ipi spoke. He and Elder Yen had always been at odds with each other. They both wanted to compete for the position of Great Elder, so he would not let go of this opportunity to attack Elder Yen. According to my investigation, this person is useless. Alright, since we've already used the Kuei Mountain sect, let's not talk after the fact. Situ Qitian frowned and waved his hand. Let's talk about what we should do this time. The position of the outer martial arts world sect master has been taken by Xiao Chen. Do you think the guy that we want to lure out will come out? It should be, right? Elder Yen said, it has nothing to do with who is the sect master. As long as someone is the sect master, it will be fine. But don't forget, Xiao Chen is that Chang woman's son. Situ Qitian was a little worried. What if he doesn't come out because of this? Elder Yen lowered his head. Since things have come to this, we can only hope for the best. At this moment, Wang Duanli spoke up. Recently, they've been expanding their business in Songning and they're cooperating with the Zheng family. Xiao Chen nodded and said, since you're working with the Zheng clan and Jing Xiaoquan, I won't touch you. However, don't make things difficult for me. Let's leave it at that. After that, Xiao Chen returned to his seat and ignored Sun Wuming. A young master from an ordinary family dares to act arrogant in front of me? When Sun Wuming heard that Xiao Chen was only from an ordinary family, and yet he dared to act arrogantly in front of him, a young master from a Zhenwu family, he was instantly enraged. Fine, if you don't want your family to be destroyed because of you, apologize to me immediately and get lost in a corner. Then I'll consider letting you go. Otherwise, you and your family will be finished. Jing Xiaoquan, is this the person your Zheng family is cooperating with? Is there something wrong with his brain? Xiao Chen looked at Sun Wuming, who was acting like a weirdo. This guy really thinks too highly of himself. Fine, let's see if you can destroy one of my Xiao family. This? Jing Xiaoquan didn't know what to say. Of course, although he knew that Xiao Chen and the Xiao family had been very powerful recently, it was only based on some previous events. He didn't know that Xiao Chen had recently been elected as the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and the master of the Dark Sect. The Zheng family was no longer an aristocratic family, so they weren't very well informed. As for Sun Wuming, these things had little to do with him, so he naturally didn't investigate in advance. Jing Xiaoquan, you don't have to persuade me. Doesn't he want the Xiao family to be destroyed? Fine, after we get our hands on it, we'll join forces and attack the Xiao family's business. I'll make him cry. Sun Wuming said proudly. This. Jing Xiaoquan didn't know how to answer. I was worried that I couldn't find a breakthrough after coming to Songning. I didn't know where to start. Xiao Chen, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Sun Wuming looked at Xiao Chen and smiled. I wanted to beat you up before, but now I won't. You're finished? If he made a move, wouldn't it destroy the cooperation between the two families? In the market, those companies that were acquired by the Tsin family began to act together. The companies targeted were, of course, the companies under the name of the Shao family. Recently, the Shao family's business expansion had been very rapid, and it had been involved in many industries. First of all, it was the chain stores. The Shao family stores were generally concentrated in the major business districts of Songning City. There were inevitably other stores in the business district. Originally, everyone had been living in harmony. Although there were often activities and competitions, there were rarely that kind of loss-making price war. After all, everyone was trying to make money, not to attack the opponent. This kind of self-destructive method wouldn't be used easily. However, today the supermarkets and shopping malls near the Shao family store seemed to be crazy. They began to crazily reduce prices and promote prices. The prices were already cheaper than the cost price, and it wasn't just a little bit cheaper. This suicidal sales method attracted a lot of customers all of a sudden. Almost all the customers in the business district gave up on the Shao family store and flocked to the Tsin family's store. Although Tsin Wuming didn't make the decision in the Tsin family, his proposal was quickly approved by his father. If they didn't know how to cherish this kind of good opportunity, then they were really stupid. The Tsin family looked at the popular photos of the store and were very happy. They also forwarded a lot of them to Tsin Wuming. Hee kid, it's too late now even if you kowtow to me and apologize. Look at the Shao family store. TSK, it's really deserted. Tsin Wuming pushed his phone in front of Xiao Chen and said, "Oh." Xiao Chen glanced at it. He wasn't interested in these things and he wasn't good at doing business. Although the Shao family wasn't good at it, didn't they have other things they were good at? The Xie family and the Shao family were in a cooperative relationship now. Emperor Xie was an expert in business operations. It was impossible that he didn't know how to deal with it. Sure enough, after Emperor Xie found out about this, he didn't panic at all. Ever since the Xie family cooperated with the Shao family, the one thing they didn't lack the most was money. Since the Tsin family store was selling goods, Emperor Xie simply gave all the store employees a holiday and let them go to the Tsin family store to buy as much as they could. After buying, they would directly send it to the Shao family's store. Jing family. The person in charge of Songning was the Tsin family's young master, Tsin Jiejin. He looked at the reports from his subordinates and was immediately very happy. Previously, because the Shao family store was a veteran, they weren't able to attract too many customers. The business could only be considered moderate. Chapter 789. As a result, those who originally wanted to stay in the Tsin family's hotel stayed in the Shao family's hotel because there were no more rooms available. Originally, it wasn't a tourist season after the new year, so the hotel occupancy rate was only about 50%. But now, because of the Tsin family, it was close to 100%. This meant that after deducting the Tsin family's 10% discount, it was still equivalent to the Shao family's 10% discount. Not only was the income much higher than usual, but it also made the Tsin family's hotel suffer a loss. It was just that the Tsin family hadn't discovered this problem yet. The assistant in charge of the hotel was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth when he saw that the hotels were full and that many membership cards had been applied. In fact, for ordinary people, even if they had a 10% discount annual membership card, they might not stay here every day. Who would be so free to stay in the hotel all day? Even if it was a 10% discount, it would still cost money, right? Therefore, according to the probability calculation, the real card holders would use it dozens of times a year. Who would have thought that these card holders were all disguised waiters of the Shao family's hotel? Tsin Jiejin looked at the report in his hand and instantly felt that he was going to completely dominate the Songning shopping mall. It was the same for several other industries. As long as he had a promotion or discount, Emperor Xie would send people to deal with it. Emperor Xie was also a little speechless about this kind of opponent. Acting recklessly without considering the consequences and costs, it actually benefited the Shao family. As for the store, it soon became difficult to make ends meet. After all, the inventory of the manufacturer's agent was also limited. After being delivered, it was sold out. After a few rounds, the inventory was also gone. Even if they urgently transferred the goods from the manufacturer, it couldn't be done in a day. Without a choice, the empty Tsin family store could only be closed first, and the previously deserted Shao family store became popular again. Although they were all normal activities such as a free laundry detergent for 200 yuan and a free napkin for 300 yuan, they were still more discounted than usual. Therefore, many customers went to the Shao family store after seeing that the Tsin family store was closed. They didn't want to waste their trip and went to the Shao family store. Most of the goods in the Xiao family store were bought from the Tsin family store at a low price. Even if there was a promotion, they still made a lot of money. The number of customers was more than double than usual. Tsin Wuming happily showed Xiaochen the good news his father was sending him on WeChat. Are you out of your mind? What does this have to do with me? Xiaochen said angrily, don't disturb my class. If you keep talking, I'll throw you out. You? Fine, I'll tell you what, we're in a classroom and I don't want to fight. But just you wait, I'll let you have a good time when your Xiao family is destroyed tomorrow. Tsin Wuming sneered. It was not that he did not dare to fight Xiaochen, but he was not sure of Xiaochen's strength. After all, he was only a martial artist with stage 8 inner force. If Xiaochen was on par with him, he might not have the upper hand in a fight. Therefore, he planned to find a chance to ask Jing Xiaoquan about Xiaochen's strength, but he was embarrassed to ask in front of Xiaochen. It seemed like he was afraid of Xiaochen. Xiaochen did not pay attention to Tsin Wuming until school ended at noon. Tsin Wuming proudly pointed at Jing Xiaoquan and said, let's go. Let's have a meal to celebrate. Today the Tsin family's business will enter Songning and suppress the Xiao family. At noon, Xiaochen wanted to find Jing Xiaoquan to ask about the situation, but Tsin Wuming called Jing Xiaoquan away first. He had no choice. Lu Jinming just happened to come over. Boss Xiaochen, you're back. Skinny monkey and I missed you so much when you weren't here. Lu Jinming said, I'll treat you to a meal. Oh, let's go to the cafeteria. Xiaochen smiled and said, do you remember the first time you treated me to a meal? Ah, don't mention it. I was young and ignorant at that time. I offended you. Lu Jinming smiled and walked out of the classroom with Xiaochen. Skinny Monkey and Ma Gangmen followed behind like two bodyguards. However, Xiaochen also noticed that it seemed that Lu Jinming was forcing a smile. Although he looked happy, he seemed to have something on his mind. Xiaochen couldn't help but wonder, little Lu, what's wrong with you? Not very happy? Is it because Qing Menjing left so you don't have a goddess to look at? Boss Xiaochen, don't make fun of me. Menjing is your woman. How can I dare to think about it? Lu Jinming scratched his head awkwardly and lowered his voice. The Lu family's businesses are now almost all being counterattacked by the Zheng family. Martial arts hall, security company, fitness center. Now the business is greatly reduced. Oh? Xiaochen was slightly stunned and immediately thought of something. Because of that Tsin Wuming? Yeah, even our family's consecrator doesn't dare to provoke the Tsin family. It's a real martial arts family. It's not on the same level as our ordinary families. Lu Jinming sighed. I didn't want to say this at first. I also know that you have a good relationship with Zheng Xiaoquan, so even if I said it, you wouldn't help me. It would make things difficult for you, but, AI. Xiaochen nodded and said, I'll see the situation first. It seems that Zheng Xiaoquan has a bit of a compromise. I don't think this is his intention. Previously, Zheng Xiaoquan's expression and posture didn't seem to be willing. So Xiaochen planned to observe him again. He could also get some information from Lu Jinming. I don't know whether it's his intention or not. Anyway, it's the Zheng family's intention to cooperate with the Tsin family, and the Zheng family also got the corresponding benefits. Lu Jinming said, when they just entered Songning, they didn't dare to touch other businesses. They could only attack the underworld businesses. Because the Zheng family and our Lu family have grievances, it's reasonable to make a move. The other families won't intervene. After all, the Tsin family didn't touch their territory. Oh, I was wondering why they were so happy to attack the Xiao family today. Xiaochen nodded. It seems that they can't wait. What? They attacked the Xiao family? Lu Jinming was shocked. Yeah, but don't worry. I don't care about a small Tsin family. Xiaochen said faintly, moreover, I don't need to do anything at all. They are no match for the Xia family with normal business means. But, we still have to guard against their dirty tricks. Lu Jinming said, the Tsin family is quite sinister. I heard that they have some connections with the Wulin families. I'm afraid. Hee, it's okay. If it was in the past, Xiaochen would be scared when he heard the words Wulin. Not to mention the Wulin, Xiaochen didn't dare to offend the Wulin families easily. But now, well, since boss Xiaochen is confident, then I won't say more. Let's go eat. Lu Jinming said. Outside the school, in a private room of a luxury restaurant, Tsin Wu was eating a lamb chop elegantly. He said to Zheng Xiaoquan, you eat too. Don't act like a servant. Yes. Zheng Xiaoquan thought, am I not a servant? I don't have any human rights in front of you. You scold me all day and treat me like a lackey. I've had enough. But he didn't dare to say it. The Tsin family could destroy the Zheng family in minutes. Although his father didn't say it clearly, Jing Xiaoquan could see that his father regretted working with the Tsin family. Oh yeah, let me ask you. What's the strength of that Xiaoqin? He seems to be okay? Tsin Wu asked faintly while picking his teeth. I'm not very sure, but I heard that he's quite powerful. He seems to be close to the level of a devil master? Jing Xiaoquan actually didn't know. The last news he heard was that Xiao Qin fought with the devil master of the Quishan sect, but he didn't know what his strength was. What? He's a devil master. Tsin Wu suddenly widened his eyes after hearing it. He looked incredulous. Are you kidding me? A small ordinary family can have a devil master? I'm not very sure about this. Xiao Qin hasn't come to school for a while. I heard it before. Jing Xiaoquan smiled bitterly. At that time, it seemed that there was a devil master from the outer martial arts sects who went to look for trouble with Xiao Qin, and then, the outer martial arts sects looked for trouble with Xiao Qin? Stop bullsh asterisk ting. Okay, no need to say more. Tsin Wu immediately waved his hand after hearing it. A finished lamb chop bone was directly thrown at Jing Xiaoquan's face. His throw was imbued with inner strength, and Jing Xiaoquan was in so much pain that he almost cried. I know what you're thinking. Don't think that I don't know that you have a good relationship with that Xiao Qin. Don't you just want to promote him? You want me to think that he's strong and not go against him, right? Tsin Wu Ming sneered. Jing Xiaoquan, you're too naive. Think about it. If he's a devil master, then how can the Xiao family still be an ordinary family? Didn't they already apply to be promoted to a true martial arts family? Do you think that's possible? No. I heard that he and a few other friends chased the people from the Quishan sect away. Jing Xiaoquan said. In fact, he only heard it from others. The Quishan sect wouldn't say the real truth, and the Xiao family naturally wouldn't say it either. He only heard a small part of it. He didn't even know if there were any deaths. That's too funny. Tsin Wu Ming sneered. Alright, you said that he's a devil master, right? That's no problem. It just so happens that the second high priest of the family is coming tonight to check on our results today. When the time comes, I'll let him deal with Xiao Qin. Ah. Jing Xiaoquan was stunned. He said that Xiao Qin was a devil master and how powerful he was. In fact, it wasn't that he didn't want Tsin Wu Ming to keep the peace. If the Tsin family and the Xiao family were to fight, then Jing Xiaoquan would be in a difficult situation. After all, Xiao Qin had helped the Zheng family speak up at the Songning Righteous Devil Summit. Moreover, the two of them were also very good friends in school. But now, he didn't expect that after saying so much, it would attract an even more powerful opponent for Xiao Qin. This made him very depressed. Brother Tsin, there's no need to mobilize so many people to deal with a child from an aristocratic family, right? If the other aristocratic families in Songning saw this, they would think that we're also going to deal with them one by one. If that happens, it'll be difficult to deal with them jointly. Li Xiener was slightly surprised when she heard Xiao Qin call her, but then she saw Xiao Qin in the driver's seat. She subconsciously thought that Xiao Qin wanted to help her, but at this time she wanted to get away, so she directly got into the car. Hey Li Xiener. The boy saw that Li Xiener got in the car and he was a little anxious. He walked over in a few steps to open the door. However, Xiao Qin had already locked the door and started the car. He directly threw the boy off. The man named Zhao Yuqing's eyes flashed a touch of coldness. He quickly ran to the side of a Volkswagen Touareg and got in the car. He directly started the car and chased after Xiao Qin's Land Rover. In terms of grade, his car wasn't worse than Xiao Qin's, but it looked more low-key. However, Xiao Qin recognized it and couldn't help but ask, "What is this person doing? He seems to be quite rich." "I don't know. He transferred from another school and then he began to chase me," Li Xiener said casually to Xiao Qin, but after she finished speaking she suddenly felt that she was too casual in front of Xiao Xiao. She was a girl who didn't like to talk much in school. Even if Xiao Qin saved her before, it was impossible for her to be so casual with Xiao Qin. However, Xiao Xiao didn't think there was anything wrong with it. She just smiled and said, "Why don't you be my brother's girlfriend? Then that Zhao Yuqing will give up." And? Li Xiener was stunned and looked at Xiao Xiao in confusion. "Alright, don't pretend. My brother told me that you are the same kind of person. You don't have to hide it." Xiao Xiao smiled. Oh. Li Xiener was surprised, but she didn't explain. She thought that Xiao Qin and Xiao Xiao were talking about her being a martial artist. After all, cultivators weren't easy to understand. Xiao Xiao was also a woman from an aristocratic family. She knew that there was nothing wrong with being a martial artist, so Li Xiener said, "Yes, I am also a martial artist, but my strength is too low. I don't have the ability to protect myself." When Xiao Xiao heard Li Xianer say this, she thought that she wanted to keep the matter of being a superpower a secret, so she didn't expose it. She nodded and said, "My brother is strong, so he can help you." "Alright Xiao Xiao, don't mess around. I just came back for a few days. How can I have time to care about these things?" Xiao Qin smiled bitterly. "Don't be a hindrance when the time comes." When Zhao Yuqing saw that I left, he would be even more crazy. He thinks that since Li Xianer can be a partner with me, she can naturally be a partner with him. It's better to refuse. That's true. Xiao Xiao nodded. Right, Li Xianer, where is your home? We will send you back. No need. Just drop me at the intersection in front. Li Xianer subconsciously didn't want Xiao Qin to know too much about her. The car behind is chasing. Xiao Xiao pointed to the back of the car. Ah. The Xiao family's businesses are losing ground? Yes, Director Xin. Our supermarket has been out of stock several times, and the hotel is already overcrowded, especially with many people applying for membership cards. The assistant nodded and said, "Not bad, you guys are very capable. Hold the Xiao family back for a few days. When the time comes they'll be finished. We'll send people to buy all of the Xiao family's businesses." Sun Jejin said proudly. Actually, his plan was very good. The customers were already in his shop. Unless the Xiao family also started a price war, they could only wait for death. But the Xiao family was a small family. Could they afford a price war with the real martial clan? It was completely impossible. They could only be bought over. Otherwise, these businesses would be losing money in the hands of the Xiao family. What was the use of keeping them? Sun Jejin's plan was very good. This was also a very common business method. Of course, it might be effective against some small businesses, but against the Xiao family, it would be a tragedy. The Xiao family was not a small family or a small business. In terms of wealth, no one in the vicinity could be richer than the Xie family. Especially the Xiao family, the Xie family, and the Yu family were united. Not only were they rich, they also had the business brain, Xie Huang. Not only did they not lose money and wait for death, but they also gained a great advantage. This was something Sun Jejin did not expect. Of course, it was impossible for him to think in this direction. After all, supermarkets occupied a lot of their own business. Otherwise, why would many supermarkets like to buy on credit with their suppliers? They were also very scarce in cash. For the Xiao family to use money to buy all the goods in their competitors' supermarkets was simply unimaginable. He had never heard of anyone doing this before. This was not the stock market. It was the same for the hotel industry. It was also strange to let their employees stay in the hotel for a long time. But now that the Xiao family was rich and willful, it was not a problem. Director Tsin, you flatter me. This is all because of Director Tsin's leadership. The assistant quickly said modestly. Well, let's go. The second consecrator is coming. Let's welcome him together. Sun Jejin stood up and said seriously. The second consecrator was not from the real martial clan's Tsin family, but from the outer martial world's Tsin family. The outer martial world's Tsin family had sent 2 experts to the real martial clan's Tsin family. This was also to make the Tsin family stand out from the other real martial clans. Just then Tsin Wuming came back from school. As soon as he entered the door, he saw that his father was going out. Dad, you are going to... Tsin Wuming also received the family's battle report. He wanted to have a joyful chat with his father for a while. The second consecrator is coming. Wuming, you should go with him. Sun Jejin said. Okay. Tsin Wuming was very happy when he heard that the second consecrator was coming. He wanted to find a chance to talk to the second consecrator about how to deal with Xiao Qin. They arrived at the Zheng family's gate. The Zheng family had actually moved to a remote place in the courtyard. They were not allowed to walk around. Zheng Xiaoquan felt that this was no longer his home. A commercial vehicle slowly stopped at the gate of the Zheng family's mansion. An old man in a black robe came out of the vehicle. He looked at Sun Jejin with arrogance in his eyes and said, Jejin, I heard that you have been here for a month and have not made any progress. The head of the previous family asked me to come and see if you are not capable or have some difficulties. The old man was very arrogant when he said this. He had the dignity and disdain of a superior. He was the second consecrator of the Tsin family. The head of the previous family he mentioned was naturally not the head of the real martial world's Tsin family, but the head of the outer martial world's Tsin family. Second consecrator, that was in the past. Today I have great news to report to you. Sun Jejin said respectfully. Please come in and listen to Jejin's detailed report. Oh? Good news? Tell me about it. The second consecrator was slightly stunned. He was a little annoyed that Sun Jejin was so useless. He was sent to help because he had not made any progress in a month. But now it seemed that it was not the case. Yes. After entering the living room, Sun Jiajin explained in detail how Sun Wuming obtained an opportunity from the Xiao family's hothead young master, Xiao Qin, and then seized half of the supermarket and hotel industry. Not bad. The second consecrator listened to Sun Jiajin's report. Although he felt that it was not bad, that was in consideration of the family's interests. He was a little unhappy from the perspective of personal interests. These things happened before he came, so it was not his credit. When he returned, the previous family's head would not give him any reward. This made him a little dispirited. All right, if that's the case, then continue according to your plan. I don't need to do anything. I think I will go back in a few days. Ah. How smart was Sun Jiajin. As soon as he heard the second consecrator's words, he understood the meaning behind it. He quickly said, "Second consecrator, how can you leave? Today's results were only achieved under your supervision. Without your strong backing, we wouldn't have dared to challenge the Xiao family. After all, the Xiao family is a local aristocratic family. Even if we are a dragon crossing the river, a strong dragon can't suppress a snake in its own territory. But we know that the second consecrator is coming to support us, so we dared to do this." Is that so? Does this mean that I also contributed? The second consecrator was delighted. Chapter 792. Oh, Father, you are really far-sighted. Sun Wuming immediately understood. I'm just teaching Xiao Qin a lesson for a while, but you are making the Xiao family suffer for a long time. That's right. If Xiao Qin is really a martial arts master like you said, then the Xiao family will definitely use Xiao Qin as a trump card and bring him to negotiate with us. It will also serve as a deterrent and pressure. The price they sell us won't be too low. Sun Jiajin said, but they didn't expect our second priest to be even more powerful. They can only wait to cry ha. Okay, let Xiao Qin be proud for 2 more days. Sun Wuming thought about the gains and losses, so he wasn't in a hurry to teach Xiao Qin a lesson. Not only did he not teach Xiao Qin a lesson, but he also wanted to show weakness to the enemy, making Xiao Qin feel that he really couldn't do anything to him. When the second priest appeared, Xiao Qin's disadvantage would be huge. Maybe he wouldn't be able to accept the fact and become mentally ill. In the evening, Sun Jiajin and his son brought the second priest to a relatively high-end hotel. This hotel was also acquired, so the front desk manager didn't know Sun Jiajin and the others. He thought they were guests who wanted to stay in the hotel. In order to investigate the situation, Sun Jiajin didn't reveal his identity, but asked directly, "Young man, we want to stay in the hotel. 3 rooms?" "I'm sorry, sir. Our hotel is full because of the event." The lobby manager walked over and said politely, "That room is empty?" Sun Jiajin asked. "This one is really empty." The lobby manager smiled bitterly. "All of them are full." "Then, can we have a room tomorrow?" Sun Jiajin asked. This is hard to say because most of the guests booked more than 3 days. Even if there is a booking for 1 day, if they don't check out and continue to pay tomorrow, we can't kick them out, right? The lobby manager explained. "Ah, not bad." Sun Jiajin was delighted after hearing it. The second priest on the side was also very satisfied. It seemed that Sun Jiajin wasn't bragging, but it was really true. Seeing that Sun Jiajin laughed and said not bad, the lobby manager was a little puzzled. "Sir, you are Xiao Lu, right?" "I'm Sun Jiajin. Did my assistant, Xiao Wang, contact you before?" Sun Jiajin smiled. "It's Director Sun, I'm sorry. The lobby manager apologized profusely. "I've never seen you before, so..." "Well, it's fine. I just want to see the real you." "All right, have you arranged the dinner? Lead the way." Sun Jiajin waved his hand and said, "Okay, Director Sun, please come with me." The lobby manager hurriedly made a pleased gesture. When he went to the elevator, Sun Jiajin found that all 3 elevators were in use, which meant that there were a lot of people in the hotel, so he simply took the stairs. Anyway, the restaurant was in the basement, so it was only a few steps away. "Keep it up. You've done very well. I'll report what I see." The second priest was also very satisfied with the current situation. "Haha, same to you," Sun Jiajin said happily. It was a quiet night. The next morning, Xiao Qin woke up early. Looking at Xiao Xiao, who was sleeping soundly next to him, Xiao Qin planned to go to the morning market street to see how Kerlin was doing. He hadn't seen her for a long time. In Xiao Qin's mind, he didn't have much romantic feelings for Kerlin. At most, it might be a kind of habit to take care of her. It was like that when he was in number 1 middle school, and it was still the same after he left. Xiao Qin didn't drive but ran all the way to the morning market street. It was a familiar street, but when Xiaoqin came here again, it was so strange, as if it was a lifetime ago. It seemed like he hadn't been here for a long time. Looking at the familiar scene of the morning market street, it seemed that everything was getting farther and farther away from him. Fried dough sticks and tofu pudding, bacon pancake, Zhang's meat buns, all kinds of hawking were mixed with the sound of people bargaining. Xiaoqin slowly walked to the market, but when he walked to the stall where Tang Tang and himself used to be, he couldn't help but be stunned. This was not Lin Ker's family's wooden planks, but a stall selling new and strange items. Look, all kinds of new and special products. Several men in their 20s were hawking in front of the stall. Have you seen a small saw that can cut an iron bar? It's right here. Only $15. You won't lose out if you buy it. You won't regret it if you buy it. The man shouted as he sawed an iron pipe back and forth with a saw blade. Soon the iron pipe was sawed off. The saw in his hand was only a small saw that could be held with one hand. Such a magical thing naturally attracted the generosity of the people around, because 15 yuan was really not expensive. If this thing was really useful, it was really a good price. Have you seen a magical little box that can receive all the satellite programs? This is what I'm going to show everyone today. Everyone, please take a look. As long as you connect the video cable of this box to the TV, you can receive a satellite TV. The young man nimbly connected the equipment, and then all kinds of high-definition channels appeared on the TV. There's also an adult channel, you know. As he spoke, the young man changed the channel. Suddenly there were scenes of on the TV. Some aunties scolded the young man for being indecent, but there were also many old men who expressed great interest and wanted to buy it. At this time, an old man squeezed in with a swish. This satellite receiver box I bought yesterday doesn't work at all. Before he finished, a young man pulled the old man out. Sir, it's you who don't know how to use it, right? How about this? I will go home with you to adjust it. Xiaoqin frowned. Go home to adjust it? Maybe they threatened and forced this old man to not dare to make trouble again? Xiaoqin could guess this kind of trick. There were also things like sonic mousetraps, infrared dog scares, and the like. Some were real, but even if they were real, the effects weren't that magical. Xiaoqin didn't care about these. What he was most concerned about was who the owner of this stall was. Could it be someone hired by Lin's family? If that was the case, then Xiaoqin had really misjudged them. After watching for a while, Xiaoqin left. He planned to find someone to ask about the situation. However, as he walked forward, he saw Lin's noodle stall. It had returned to its original position. Of course, it was at the back and business wasn't as good as before. Lin. Xiaoqin called out to Lin, who was busy. Xiaoqin. When Lin saw Xiaoqin, a complicated look flashed in her eyes. She didn't know how she should treat Xiaoqin. Was it gratitude? Well, fear. Or nothing at all. However, every time she saw Xiaoqin, she would feel very nervous, and the spinach in her hand would fall to the ground. Let me help you pick it up. Xiaoqin squatted down and helped Lin pick up the spinach. Lin was wearing a short skirt in early spring, which was also the school uniform of No. 1 middle school. When Xiaoqin squatted down, he saw a touch of spring between her legs. It was pink panties. Lin might have also realized this. When she saw Xiaoqin staring blankly, her face suddenly turned red. She subconsciously wanted to close her legs, but because the spinach and water from before had spilled on the ground, her feet slipped, and her body unconsciously leaned forward. This time, Lin sat directly on Xiaoqin's face. The pink panties also happened to press down on Xiaoqin's face. The scent of a young girl made Xiaoqin a little restless. He wanted to push Lin away, but he couldn't bear to let go of this feeling. At this time, Papa Lin and Mama Lin were attracted by the scream, and they saw their daughter sitting ambiguously on a man's face. This posture, this action. Papa Lin rubbed his eyes. It can't be, my daughter has grown up to be so avant-garde? Mama Lin was a little angry. She ran over and pulled Lin up. Only then did Xiaoqin awkwardly crawl out from under the skirt. Auntie? Mama Lin was about to get angry. Which little brat dared to do such a vulgar thing in public? But when she saw it was Xiaoqin, she couldn't help but be stunned. Isn't this Xiaoqin? Long time no see. You and our heir are already together? Mama Lin originally wanted to beat Lin and Xiaoqin to death when she saw her daughter fall in love. But when she saw it was Xiaoqin, her attitude mysteriously changed. First, Xiaoqin always helped the Lin family and he even saved Lin several times. Chapter 793. Of course, the most important thing was that the goods stall was robbed. They couldn't earn much money even if they worked so hard. Right, Kerlin, have you rented out the stall? Asked Xiaoqin. Rented out? Kerlin was slightly stunned and then said with some sadness, no, it was robbed by those people. They occupied it as soon as they came. We told them, but they didn't listen. They even wanted to beat us. We had to come back and sell it. Doesn't the morning market management office care about it? Asked Xiaoqin with a frown. His heart was a lot more comfortable. As long as it wasn't Kerlin's family who rented it out, it was fine. As for being robbed, it wasn't a big deal in Xiaoqin's eyes. I went to take a look, but that group of people were gangsters. The management office couldn't do anything about it. They let us solve it ourselves. Kerlin smiled bitterly. Xiaoqin shook his head. It seems that the management office people are not good at anything except collecting money. However, this was understandable. Many businessmen contracted the market and then hired a few people here. It was difficult for them to manage it. These people didn't need to fight with these gangsters for a few thousand yuan a month. Okay, I will go and get it back for you, Xiaoqin said, but give me a bowl of noodles first. Ah, Xiaoqin, you are going to fight again? Kerlin was a little scared when she heard it. The scene of Xiaoqin killing people unconsciously appeared in her mind. I am going to reason with them, but if they start first, I can't do anything about it. Xiaoqin smiled. AI. Kerlin sighed. She knew that she couldn't control Xiaoqin, not to mention that he was standing up for her family. She could only cook noodles. Mother Lin was very excited. Can we really get it back? The income of her family here was really different from before. This kind of gap made Mother Lin not want to continue working. She wanted to open a shop. If she could get back her previous position, it was nothing to work hard. If you don't give it, I will beat you to death. Xiaoqin smiled. This is great. Mother Lin, on the other hand, was not afraid of fighting. She knew that if she was not ruthless to these hooligans, how could they return the money smoothly? After eating the noodles, Xiaoqin swaggered to the new and strange stall from before. This stall was still scamming people, but there were also a lot of people who had been scammed. There was nothing that could be done about it. Many old people did not understand these things and were greedy, so they were scammed. Most people just suffered in silence. Even if someone came to look for them, they would be secretly taken away by these young lads, threatened, and so on. Whose stall is this? Xiaoqin walked over and asked without beating around the bush. What's wrong? Are you looking for trouble? Without saying a word, a burly young man walked over and grabbed Xiaoqin, wanting to take him to the side to teach him a lesson. Go away. Xiaoqin sent the young man flying with a kick. He flew across the sky in a beautiful parabola and finally landed in a rubbish bin not far away. His head was facing the ground and he didn't come out for a long time. When the few young lads saw that Xiaoqin was a ruthless person, they put down the things in their hands and surrounded Xiaoqin collectively. They were not afraid. These people were all gangsters, so they took out sticks, switchblades, rubber sticks and the like from their pockets. Kid, are you looking for death? A gangster holding a switchblade asked. He seemed to be the leader of this group of people. That's right. You dare to cause trouble here. Are you tired of living? Why don't you find out who this stall belongs to? We are from the Black Crow's gang. Another man with hedgehog hair holding a switchblade glared at Xiaoqin with a ruthless face. I'm causing trouble? Xiaoqin was instantly amused. This stall is mine. Now that you guys have occupied it, you still say that I'm causing trouble. Is there such a joke? Kid, this stall is yours? The switchblade was stunned. You're the one selling the noodles? I'm not selling noodles. I'm selling fried dough sticks. I just let them use the stall. Xiaoqin said. Aha, you're selling fried dough sticks? When the hedgehog head heard that Xiaoqin was only selling fried dough sticks, he was instantly relieved. He mocked. Since you let them use it, then let us use it now. Kid, now write a letter of commitment and transfer the stall to us for free. Then we won't beat you to death. Really? Xiaoqin asked playfully. That's right. The switchblade nodded. He thought that what Xiaoqin said was true. Oh, then I'm sorry. I can only beat you to death. Xiaoqin shrugged. You're asking for death. When the switchblade realized that it had been tricked, it immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. It let out a strange cry and directly stabbed at Xiaoqin. Oh, you're right. You're really looking for death. Xiaoqin slapped the switchblade man's face and snatched the switchblade from his hand with his other hand. He stabbed the switchblade into the man's swollen face, piercing through his cheek and coming out the other side. Ow, ow, ow. The switchblade screamed in pain. His mouth was full of blood. It was scary. Although these little punks were quite ruthless when they fought, it was rare to see someone like Xiaoqin. This was simply brutal. It's your turn. Xiaoqin grabbed the hedgehog head's hair and pulled hard. Kacha, a large piece of hair and scalp were pulled off. The blood was very horrifying. If it was an ordinary person, they would only be able to pull off the hair but not the scalp. However, Xiaoqin used the skill of adding vitality. The hedgehog head's scalp fell off and his skull was instantly exposed. He was in so much pain that he didn't know if he could survive. The other punks who hadn't made a move knew that they had met a ruthless person. They didn't dare to go forward anymore. They picked up their companions and ran away. They didn't even care about the stall anymore. However, before they left, they didn't forget to say some harsh words. "Kid, how dare you go against the Black Crow's gang? Just you wait." "Oh, you're looking for someone? Then hurry up. I still have to go to school later." Xiaoqin looked at the time and said. However, no one replied. The few punks had disappeared in an instant. Of course, Xiaoqin didn't leave. If he left, even if he returned the stall to Lin's family, the Lin family would be the one suffering. After all, these punks would definitely come back to cause trouble. Hence, Xiaoqin didn't mind waiting a little longer. "Who among you has been scammed here before? Come and take some." Xiaoqin didn't have any use for these scams. He didn't want to leave them for Lin's family either. Xiaoqin could tell that Lin was very upright. However, Mother Lin was a little unscrupulous. If he gave these things to her, she might be able to sell them off. However, as soon as Xiaoqin finished his sentence, many people surrounded him and were ready to snatch them. "What are you doing? Line up one by one. Everyone can only take one item. If you want to line up again." Xiaoqin frowned and shouted. If it were someone else, it wouldn't be so effective. However, everyone saw how ruthless Xiaoqin was. This beating wasn't a normal fight. He was beating them to death. Didn't they see how miserable the punks were? Hence, everyone quickly lined up and didn't dare to snatch any more. Everyone obediently took one item. Not long after, the two punks who ran away previously who weren't injured returned. There was another person behind them. He didn't hide his overbearing aura at all. Xiaoqin could tell that he was a martial artist at a glance. "Who dares to beat up the people from the Black Crow's gang?" The overbearing man shouted from afar. "Where are you from? Tell me your name." Xiaoqin frowned. Isn't the underworld in Songning controlled by the Lu family? Where did this Black Crow's gang come from? However, he didn't waste any time and said plainly, "Tell me your name first." "I'm one of the 4 guardians of the Black Crow's gang, Wang Jinbrick." The overbearing man said loudly, "How about it? Have you heard of my name?" "Kid, aren't you awesome? What's so awesome about a Youqiao seller? Now that our guardian Jinbrick is here, you're just a piece of sh*t. A punk echoed. "I've never heard of you. Where did you come from?" Xiaoqin shook his head. "Is there a Black Crow's gang in Songning City? Isn't it the Lu family gang?" "Haha, the Lu family gang is a thing of the past." Another punk immediately said, "Now it's our Black Crow's gang's world. Let me tell you, if you know what's good for you, you'll die obediently. That way you'll suffer less." Zhen Wust's family? Xiaoqin suddenly thought of the pronunciation of the Black Crow's gang. The pronunciation of the word, "sin," was rare. Hence, Xiaoqin immediately thought of Zhen Wust's family and what Lu Jinming said previously. "Not bad, kid. Looks like you're not just a Youqiao seller." Wang Jinbrick heard these punks say that they were beaten up by a Youqiao seller. After listening to the process and checking their injuries, he immediately guessed that Xiaoqin wasn't just a Youqiao seller. "I really am a Youqiao seller," Xiaoqin said faintly, "but you're really not worthy of being beaten up by me. If you know what's good for you, then go back. Don't come here to show off anymore. Your master, Sun Wuming, was beaten up by me yesterday." What? Wang Jinbrick's eyes widened. "My name is Xiaoqin. You can verify it," Xiaoqin said faintly. Wang Jinbrick's face became uncertain. He wasn't sure of Xiaoqin's strength. However, as the protector of the Black Crow's gang, his status was high. Naturally, he had a way to contact the young master, Sun Wuming, in Songning City. After some thought, Wang Jinbrick dialed Sun Wuming's number. "Young Master Sun, I'm Wang Jinbrick from the Black Crow's gang." Wang Jinbrick said carefully. "Oh, what's the matter?" Sun Wuming asked. "A few of us had a conflict with a man named Xiaoqin on Morning Market Street. He's very arrogant, but he seems to know young Master Sun." Wang Jinbrick obviously didn't dare to say that Xiaoqin had taught Sun Wuming a lesson. "What? Xiaoqin?" Sun Wuming gritted his teeth when he heard the name. However, after some thought, he still said, "You're no match for him. Retreat first." "Yes." Wang Jinbrick finally understood that Xiao Chen wasn't bragging. What he said was true. He had no choice. Since Chen Wuming said so, he definitely wasn't a match for Xiao Chen. He could only turn around and leave without another word. Although the two punks didn't know what was going on, it was obvious that their boss had admitted defeat. They could only follow behind dejectedly. Chapter 794. With the matter resolved, Xiao Chen was quite satisfied. He believed that as long as Chen Wuming wasn't stupid, he wouldn't easily let his underlings find trouble with Xiao Chen because those underlings weren't his opponents. In these gangs, a martial artist was very bad *SS, but it was nothing in the world of martial artists. However, what surprised Xiao Chen was that this Black Tsun gang penetrated very quickly. These gang members had already covered many industries. Even scammers like the morning market had set up stalls. It was really extensive. However, this also showed that the Lu family gang suffered a big loss. Lu Zhiming didn't say much before, but now it seemed that the situation was very serious. However, Lu Zhiming didn't ask for his help, which made Xiao Chen sigh. In fact, if Lu Zhiming really asked, he definitely wouldn't refuse. In the beginning, Lu Zhiming got Xia Shibin's recording, which helped Xiao Chen a lot. It also made Xia Shibin become Xiao Chen's underling. Of course, it seemed that these things weren't needed now, but in the previous situation, it could be said to be the key evidence that could reverse the whole thing. Therefore, Xiao Chen was still very grateful to Lu Zhiming. Xiao Chen would naturally help the Lu family solve this trouble, and the root of this trouble was the Tsun family of real martial. As long as the Tsun family left Songning, the Lu family's trouble would be solved. When these things were taken away and the venue was empty, Xiao Chen went to find Kerlin's family. Kuer auntie, the booth in front is empty, and they won't come looking for trouble again. You can go back, Xiao Chen said lightly. He naturally didn't elaborate on the process. Really? Xiao Chen, thank you so much. Mother Lin was overjoyed when she heard it. In this way her family's income could double. You're welcome. Xiao Chen shook his head. Should I help you pack up? No, let's do it tomorrow. I'm already here today, so let's not waste time. Mother Lin had already started a fire to boil water. It would be troublesome to move over again, so one more day wouldn't make much of a difference. Okay, then I'll go to school first. If there's such trouble again, just tell Kuer to call me directly. If I had known earlier, I would have come earlier, Xiao Chen said. Okay, then I'll have to trouble you. Why didn't Mother Lin ask Kerlin to call before? However, Kerlin stammered and dragged her feet and there was no news. Seeing that there was nothing to do, Xiao Chen returned home. Xiao Xiao had already put on her clothes and was looking around. When she saw Xiao Chen, she immediately said, Brother, where did you go? I thought you were kidnapped by aliens. You disappeared early in the morning. Oh, I'm going out for a walk. Xiao Chen smiled and said, Going to school? What school? Today is Saturday. Are you out of your mind? Xiao Xiao rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen. Today I plan to go shopping. You go with me. Shopping? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Yeah, I made an appointment with Li Xiener. Aren't you interested in her? I chatted with her. She said that she was going to buy something today, so I asked her to go together. Xiao Xiao said proudly, How is it? Your sister is quite good, right? And? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. He just asked Xiao Xiao to pay attention to Li Xiener's abnormality, but Xiao Xiao approached Li Xiener openly. This way he couldn't see any problems. Xiao Chen just wanted to investigate this person secretly. As a result, Li Xiener was already on guard. How could he investigate? However, thinking about it, he was afraid that there would be a time when he accidentally exposed himself. Xiao Chen also nodded and agreed. After a simple tidying up and greeting Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao drove out. The place to meet Li Xiener was the bus station near Shanty Town. When the car stopped at the bus station, Li Xiener was already standing there. Today she was wearing a gray sportswear. She looked very youthful. If Xiao Chen didn't know her well, it would be difficult to connect her with that Xiener. Li Xiener opened the door and got in the car. She suddenly attracted the envy of a few girls next to her, but they also showed some disdain. They thought that Li Xiener was just using her beauty to attract the rich man. When he was tired of playing with her, he would dump her and she would cry. Where are we going? Asked Xiao Chen. Let's go to the business street, said Xiao Xiao. Didn't you say to go to the morning market? Li Xiener frowned slightly. She didn't spend much money on her hands. She only occasionally worked part-time to help others to eliminate demons. However, this industry seemed to be profitable, but in fact, how many demons were there? Moreover, if there were demons that couldn't be eliminated, then there would be no money. She naturally had to be careful. Didn't you say that I would treat you? Xiao Xiao said, what do you want? I will buy it for you. How can that be? Li Xianer wanted to refuse subconsciously because in her heart, she still felt that Xiao Chen wanted to learn cultivation from her, so he asked Xiao Xiao to get close to her. Otherwise she and Xiao Xiao were just ordinary classmates before. Why would she suddenly become enthusiastic? Okay. Anyway, my family has a lot of money. In order to help Xiao Chen, Xiao Xiao had no bottom line. She wasn't this kind of girl who liked to worship money. It's not like that. It's not good, right? Li Xianer really felt that Xiao Chen was coveting her ability. It's okay, right, brother? Xiao Xiao blinked at Xiao Chen. Unfortunately, Xiao Chen didn't see it because he was driving. He said, since Xianer wants to buy it herself, then let her buy it herself. Xiao Xiao was stunned. Li Xianer was also stunned. Why would Xiao Chen say that? Could it be that he was playing hard to get? What's wrong with you two? Xiao Chen was a little stunned. It was understandable that Xiao Xiao was strange, but Li Xianer's expression, no, nothing. Li Xianer shook her head. Xiao Chen, there are no outsiders in the car. Tell me, do you want to learn our sex mantra? So that your sister can get close to me? You think too much. Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, you think too much. My brother is much better than you. Xiao Xiao also echoed, it's possible to get you into bed, but to learn your mantra, forget it. Ugh. Li Xianer was choked by Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao. Her eyes widened and she didn't recover for a long time. After a while she said, Xiao Chen, you are shameless. Oh, Xiao Xiao is joking with you. How did it become me being shameless? Xiao Chen was speechless. Li Xianer, can we talk properly? Okay. Li Xianer shrugged. Then you buy it for me. I want to see what you want from me. Hee hee. Xiao Chen smiled. When they came to the business street, Xiao Chen found a parking lot. However, because of the weekend, the parking lot was already full of cars. Xiao Chen really had no place to park, and this was a no parking section nearby. In fact, as long as Xiao Chen took out the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's pass, he could park anywhere. He didn't have to worry about being punished. However, Xiao Chen wasn't the kind of person who liked to show this kind of privilege. Even if he had made a lot of contributions to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he wouldn't do it like the real Yang Jianan. Instead, he found a slightly higher roadside not far away. He could park here and he wouldn't be punished. There were cars nearby, but the places where cars could get on were all parked. The remaining roadside was very high. Even off-road vehicles couldn't get on. However, as Xiao Chen stepped on the accelerator, he used his primordial energy to propel the car forward, causing the front wheels to bounce up. As a result, the car drove up, causing Xiao Xiao and Li Xianer to widen their eyes. Xiao Xiao was better. She knew that Xiao Chen's ability was good, but Li Xianer was surprised. This wasn't something that a martial artist could do. Is Xiao Chen's driving skill so good? But is this something that can be done with good driving skills? Seeing Xiao Chen park his car here, several drivers around also looked at him with envy. Another driver, who was also driving the same Land Rover as Xiao Chen, was also looking for a parking space. He couldn't find it after looking for a long time. When he saw Xiao Chen go up, he also drove up. In the end, he didn't have any primordial chi. With a bang, the car's chassis got stuck on the roadside, smashing the front bumper. The driver wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He watched as Xiao Chen got out of the car in a carefree manner. He couldn't figure it out no matter how he thought about it. In the end, he came to the conclusion that Xiao Chen's car must have been professionally modified. Even the wheels were changed to larger ones. Thinking of this, the driver felt balanced. He thought to himself that he couldn't be compared to a professional. It wasn't a problem with him or his car. However, Xiao Chen had already left. He entered the mall with Xiao Xiao and Li Xianer. While Xiao Xiao was trying on clothes, Li Xianer approached Xiao Chen. She lowered her voice and asked, unwilling to give up, "Are you still coveting my mantra? You want to learn it? Tell me the truth." "I'm really not, but if you insist on teaching me, then I can reluctantly learn it." Xiao Chen spread his hands and said, "In your dreams." Li Xianer said, "Stop dreaming. That's impossible. And then I don't want to learn it." Xiao Chen said, "Right, let me ask you something. You told me last time that you haven't seen other cultivators like you. Is that true?" "Yes, I really haven't seen them," Li Xianer said resolutely. "Really?" Xiao Chen always felt that Li Xianer seemed to be lying. This little girl looked very sincere, but in fact he didn't know which of her words was true. Even her name might be fake. Xiao Chen believed it before, but later, when he saw the spirit of the fire attribute cultivator in the stone room under the volcano, Xiao Chen thought at that time, is there really no other cultivators in this world? He had met 3, so it was impossible to only have these 3, right? Elder Heaven Ancestor and Xiaoma, the soul of the stone room, including Li Xiener, there were 4. Li Xiener might know other cultivators, but she didn't tell him. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen knew that Li Xiener might not say anything even if he continued to ask. It was a way to get in touch with her slowly. If he could get in touch with Li Xiener's circle of friends, he could basically find out something. Chapter 795. Yes. Li Xiener nodded. Xiao Chang, why do you always care about these things? You seem to be very interested in cultivators. And I'm just curious. Xiao Chen smiled, then moved closer to Li Xiener's ear and whispered, let me tell you a secret. Actually, I'm also a cultivator. Xiao Chen's warm breath made Li Xiener a little uncomfortable. She couldn't help but blush. She snorted and took 2 steps back. Liar. Hee hee. Xiao Chen was about to say something when Xiao Xiao came out of the fitting room. She happened to see the scene of Xiao Chen whispering intimately to Li Xiener. She was very surprised. Wow, brother, so you really want to pursue Li Xiener? Xiao Xiao ran over exaggeratedly. Ahem, it's nothing. I'm just asking her something, Xiao Chen said awkwardly. Li Xiener nodded hurriedly. Yes, your brother is asking me something. Alright. Although Xiao Xiao said so, she didn't believe it. Not far away from the mall stood 2 people. Surprisingly, it was Wang Jinbrick, who had suffered a loss this morning, and Sun Wuming was standing beside him. Damn, Xiao Chen is so lucky with women. He's shopping with 2 beauties. Sun Wuming said enviously. He knew that Xiao Xiao was Xiao Chen's sister, but Li Xiener, who was as beautiful as Xiao Xiao, appeared. However, Li Xiener, whose beauty wasn't inferior to Xiao Xiao's, made him envious, and he also wanted to get his hands on her. Wang Jinbrick naturally saw through Sun Wuming's thoughts. As one of the leaders of the Black Grass Gang in Songning City, he had to talk to the Tsin family if he wanted to become the leader of the Songning branch. Currently, most of the Black Grass Gang's affairs in Songning City were decided by Tsin Jiejin. However, Tsin Jiejin's status was too high. Wang Jinbrick couldn't say anything, so he used the morning's contact to curry favor with Tsin Wuming. Young Master Tsin, why don't I create some trouble and get those 2 girls to come here? Wang Jinbrick whispered. First, he wanted to teach Xiao Chen a lesson, and second, he could curry favor with Tsin Wuming. This won't do. Xiao Chen is a martial master. We can't fight him head-on. Tsin Wuming shook his head. He was still a very rational person, and there was no way he would lose his composure because of her beauty. Even I'm no match for her. If that's the case. Wang Jinbrick pinched his chin. Why don't I get someone to create something so that these 2 girls will misunderstand and leave Xiao Chen? The one who was trying on the clothes just now is Xiao Chen's sister. It's useless for you to sow discord. But the pretty girl next to her. Do you have any good ideas? In fact, if he could use some underhanded means to get Xiao Chen's girlfriend to play with, Tsin Wuming would also be happy to see it. And through his observation just now, he realized that this girl and Xiao Chen weren't particularly close. Didn't she blush when they whispered to each other? She might even be a virgin and Xiao Chen hadn't gotten her yet. If that was the case, Tsin Wuming was even more interested. Moreover, this kind of girl wasn't close to Xiao Chen, and their relationship wasn't solid. A little trouble might be able to break them apart. I plan to. Wang Jinbrick whispered into Tsin Wuming's ear. Tsin Wuming pinched his chin and nodded with interest. Are you sure you can handle it? Don't worry. Although this mall isn't ours yet, we're still negotiating to buy it. It's just that we haven't agreed on the final price. But helping us is just a convenience, Wang Jinbrick said. Because Tsin Jiejin didn't bring many people this time, the senior leaders of the Black Tsin gang also temporarily acted as errand boys and were responsible for some business. Of course, if they did good deeds, they would also be promoted accordingly. This mall happened to be Wang Jinbrick's responsibility, and he was very familiar with the staff here. Okay, then we'll do as you say. Tsin Wuming nodded. After Wang Jinbrick got the answer, he quickly went to do his work. On the other side, Xiao Chen was accompanying Li Xiener and Xiao Xiao to shop. But after visiting a few shops, Xiao Chen was really bored, so he said, Xiao Xiao, Xiener, you 2 go shopping. I'll sit here for a while. Because Xiao Xiao wanted to go to a place that specialized in selling women's underwear and panties, it wasn't appropriate for Xiao Chen to follow. All right. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed. She had purposely wanted to go. Of course, it was also because Li Xianer wanted to buy these things as well. However, the main reason why Xiao Xiao had tagged along was because she wanted Xiao Qin to choose a few for her. However, Xiao Qin had rejected her, so she couldn't keep pestering him. How would an outsider like Li Xianer look at them? Wouldn't she look down on them? In order not to embarrass Xiao Qin, Xiao Xiao didn't insist and went with Li Xianer. In a clothing store that specialized in selling women's underwear, Xiao Xiao and Li Xianer chose their favorite styles and then walked into the fitting room. Of course, this kind of close-fitting thing couldn't be tried on the body. Generally, it was measured on the body. When they all went in, Wang Jinbrick and a middle-aged man walked over quickly. The middle-aged man waved to the salesgirl standing on the side, signaling her to come over. Manager Yang. The salesgirl saw the middle-aged man and quickly walked over respectfully. The middle-aged man nodded and said, "This gentleman asked you to do something, just do it." Okay, Manager Yang. The salesgirl nodded quickly. This Manager Yang was the manager in charge of the entire mall's clothing, so she naturally didn't dare to neglect him. Wang Jinbrick whispered a few words in her ear. The salesgirl hesitated after listening and looked at Manager Yang. "Do as he said. I will give you a bonus this month, 10,000 yuan. Manager Yang said faintly. Yes. When the salesgirl heard that there was a bonus of 10,000 yuan, she immediately nodded and left. Wang Jinbrick's mouth flashed a smirk, then quietly left with the middle-aged man. He didn't forget to give Chen Wuming a look. Who is Xiao Qin? Where's Xiao Qin? The female shop assistant ran to the resting area and shouted in a panic. She looked like she was about to explode. I am. What's the matter? Xiao Qin stood up with some doubts. He looked at the salesgirl he didn't know and didn't know why she was looking for him. Xiao Xiao fainted in the fitting room over there. Hurry up and come with me. The salesgirl said anxiously. What? Xiao Xiao fainted? Where? Xiao Qin subconsciously said anxiously after listening. Come with me. The shop assistant nodded, then quickly led the way in front of him. The salesgirl led Xiao Qin through many turns and came to an underwear store, which made Xiao Qin a little embarrassed, but because he was worried about Xiao Xiao, he didn't care about it. He was a little puzzled. Xiao Xiao was also a martial artist. How could she suddenly faint? Moreover, there was nothing wrong with Xiao Xiao, so it shouldn't be possible. Ah, isn't this student Xiao Qin? Why are you here? Xiao Qin was walking forward when a voice sounded beside him. He turned his head and saw that it was Chen Wuming. Xiao Qin frowned. Chen Wuming, what's the matter? What a joke. Is this shopping mall your home? Why can't I come? I didn't look for you. It was just a chance encounter. Chen Wuming looked at Xiao Qin with disdain. I was just casually greeting you. Don't treat my kindness as malicious intent. Oh, I have something to do now. I don't have time to bother with you. Go away, said Xiao Qin impatiently. Aha, but why did you come here? This is a forbidden place for men. Are you here to buy these underwear? Chen Wuming didn't leave but followed Xiao Qin. He didn't forget to make a few sarcastic remarks about Xiao Qin. Then what are you doing here? Did you have surgery? Xiao Qin said coldly, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you now. Go away. Ha, I came with my sister. What's the matter? Chen Wuming found an excuse for himself. In fact, he just wanted to witness Xiao Qin's embarrassment, and then find a chance to take advantage of Li Xianer. Then do whatever you want. Xiao Qin said impatiently. At this moment he had already walked into the store. Xiao Qin glanced at the female shop assistant from before. Where's Xiao Xiao? In that fitting room. The female shop assistant pointed to a fitting room not far away. Oh. Xiao Qin walked over quickly, but after 2 steps he stopped and frowned. Something's wrong. There seems to be a problem here. Previously he was worried about Xiao Xiao's safety. Moreover, it was the female shop assistant who came to find him. However, he didn't think that there might be a problem. Was also here. Xiao Qin felt that it was a bit of a coincidence. After thinking about it carefully, the female shop assistant came to find Xiao Qin. How does she know that my name is Xiao Qin? According to her, Xiao Xiao was already unconscious. It was not a problem for the female shop assistant to know Xiao Xiao's name because Li Xianer was also here, so she knew. It was also not a problem for her to know that he was in the rest area. However, the problem was that although Li Xianer already knew that his name was Xiao Qin from Xiao Xiao, she still habitually called him Xiao Chang. Especially in this kind of urgent situation, it was impossible for her to think about such things. She definitely blurted out Xiao Chang. The most important point was that Xiao Xiao was unconscious, so where did Li Xianer go? Where is she? Why is she waiting for me to go to the fitting room? Why didn't Li Xianer carry Xiao Xiao out earlier? Thinking of this, Xiao Chen's gaze flashed across the unlatched fitting room door. It was just an unlatched door, but as a cultivator, Xiao Chen could vaguely see that something was wrong inside. The person inside wasn't Xiao Xiao. Suddenly, Xiao Chen sneered and shouted, "Xiao Xiao, are you okay?" Then, he saw Sun Wuming rush over and kick open the fitting room door. That wasn't all. After he rushed in, he even moved his hands up and down. Then, he came back to his senses and felt that his hands were pressing on something soft. Chapter 796. Sun Wuming's mind was under Xiao Chen's control, so he hadn't completely come back to his senses. He thought it was a dream and subconsciously pinched it. Seemed to feel good? Ah. As Sun Wuming entered the fitting room, a scream was heard, followed by a loud slap and a shrill cry. "Sun Wuming, where are you? Come quickly, your sister is being molested. I'll fight it out with you all." The woman in the fitting room was naturally found by Wang Jinbrick. She was a delinquent and didn't know Sun Wuming at all. According to the script, she thought that the person who rushed in was Xiao Chen, so she immediately went into character and started acting. "What the hell are you screaming for?" Sun Wuming was about to explode. He originally wanted to frame Xiao Chen and make him a pervert who peeped at women changing clothes. Then he would embarrass himself in front of Li Xiener. However, he couldn't understand why he had rushed into the fitting room in place of Xiao Chen. That wasn't all. The worst thing was that this woman actually shouted, "Sun Wuming, your sister is being molested." How could Sun Wuming endure that? Damned Sun Wuming, you sure have a heavy taste, huh? Xiao Chen's eyes widened in shock. You peeped at your sister changing clothes? I really don't understand. Why didn't you peep at home? Why did you purposely come to the mall? Oh, I know, you must have been thinking of molesting your sister at home, so you came outside to peep. At this time, Li Xiener and Xiao Xiao were also startled by the screams and commotion outside, and they saw such a shocking scene. The little delinquent was naked from the waist up and dancing in front of Sun Wuming. She didn't care what Sun Wuming said. She was just acting according to the script, and she didn't stop. Hey, stop fooling around. Sun Wuming looked at the crazy delinquent, but he couldn't hit her. In public, everyone would see him rushing into the fitting room and molesting a girl. If he were to make a move, then he would be called a scoundrel and his reputation would be ruined. Although Sun Jiajin didn't care about it, the Sun family did. The Sun family was going to enter Songning and replace the former Qing family as the #1 aristocratic family. If his reputation was ruined at this time, it would be a stain on his record. At that time, it would also affect Sun Jiajin's future competition for the position of the family head. Therefore, Sun Wuming had no choice but to explain while clutching his head. Even if he was a martial artist, it was useless because the other party was scratching him. As a martial artist, there was no way he could defend against it. Even if he put up a strong defense, his face would still be covered in blood. "Stop messing around, I'm Sun Wuming." Sun Wuming shouted tragically, but why would the woman care about him? In the midst of the chaos, a group of security guards suddenly rushed into the underwear store, holding rubber rods in their hands, and the one who rushed in front was the middle-aged man from before, Manager Yang. Who called the security office? Where are the hooligans? Manager Yang asked arrogantly. However, before anyone answered, he pointed at Sun Wuming, who was being scratched by the delinquent girl, and said, "It's him. Everyone go together and take him to the security office." Yes. The security guards obeyed the order, and a large group of people went up and surrounded Sun Wuming. At that time, although Wang Jinbrick knew that Xiao Chen was a master at the level of a martial artist, devil master, in his opinion Xiao Chen acted like a hooligan in public, and he didn't dare to fight back when he was attacked by the security guards. After all, the security guards were innocent, and Xiao Chen wouldn't do such a thing. Of course, if Xiao Chen dared to do it, it wouldn't matter. He would hype up this matter and rely on it to attack the Xiao family. At that time, the Xiao family would be in a mess. The security guards rushed up and said that they would take him away, but in fact, they received Manager Yang's hint to beat Sun Wuming violently. "Ouch, stop hitting me!" Sun Wuming screamed. "I'm Sun Wuming, don't hit me. I don't care who you are." Manager Yang only cared about beating people, but he didn't remember who Sun Wuming was. Moreover, Wang Jinbrick had instructed the female shop assistant in private, so Manager Yang didn't hear it clearly. What happened to him? Xiao Xiao knew Sun Wuming. He was the person who mocked Xiao Chen yesterday. Who knows? It seems like he peeped at his sister changing clothes, so he got beaten up. Xiao Chen shrugged. As for what Xiao Xiao fainted, he didn't want to say it. Now it seemed that it was Sun Wuming who did it. If he said it, it would only make Xiao Xiao worry, so it was better not to say it. Oh, so he's a pervert? Xiao Xiao nodded. Yeah, have you chosen your clothes? Let's go, don't care about him. Xiao Qin shook his head and said. I've chosen brother? Xiao Xiao subconsciously wanted to show it to Xiao Qin, but she suddenly remembered that Li Xiener was still on the side, so she quickly changed her words. Brother, Xiener bought a lot of sexy lingerie. Do you want to see? I won't look. Xiao Qin quickly refused. Hee hee. Xiao Xiao smiled, but Li Xiener glared at her. The three of them walked out of the lingerie store together. From afar, Wang Jinbrick was waiting to see Xiao Qin get caught by the security guards. However, Xiao Qin saw it. However, he wasn't caught by the security guards. Instead, he was leisurely walking over with two beauties. Yo? Isn't this that Wang? What's your name? Wang Jinbrick, right? Xiao Qin saw Wang Jinbrick, but he couldn't remember his name. This kind of small character wasn't worth remembering. Tsk tisk. What do you mean? Why did you come out? Are you okay? Wang Jinbrick didn't understand Xiao Qian's words, but he felt that it was incredible that nothing happened to Xiao Qian. What can't happen to me? Xiao Qian pretended to be puzzled. Oh, I remember. Your master, Cin Wuming, was beaten because he peeked at his sister changing clothes. AI, really the misfortune of Jinwu's Cin family. What did you say? Wang Jinbrick was shocked after hearing it. He said subconsciously, this is impossible. If you don't believe it, then forget it. Let's go bye-bye. After Xiao Qin finished, he ignored Wang Jinbrick and walked away. Wang Jinbrick hesitated for a moment and quickly ran to the inner clothing store. From a distance, he saw a group of security guards beating a person, but he didn't know who it was. However, when he saw this scene, Wang Jinbrick's heart sank. He immediately quickened his pace and rushed over. Sure enough, he heard Cin Wuming scream. Stop. Wang Jinbrick was scared silly and quickly jumped out to stop them. Li Xiener came out this time to buy inner clothing. Now that she had bought it, there was nothing else to do. She followed Xiao Qin and Xiao Xiao out of the mall. She said, was that person coming for you? Do you have a grudge against him? It's not a grudge. It's all right. Xiao Qin said faintly. Compared to other grudges, the grudge between him and Cin Wuming was really nothing. If Cin Wuming was quiet, then Xiao Qin wouldn't take the initiative to find trouble with him. After all, he wasn't Xiao Qian's opponent. Li Xiener responded and didn't say anything else. What do you want to eat? I'll treat you. Xiao Qin looked at the time. It was almost noon. No, you brought me out to buy things and paid for me. It's my treat, Li Xiener said. She didn't want to owe Xiao Qin too much. She still felt that Xiao Qin wanted to learn cultivation from her, not to pursue her. With Xiao Qian's qualifications, there were plenty of beautiful women he wanted. There was no need for him to waste his energy on himself. Moreover, if it wasn't their second meeting, the first time Xiao Qin saved the damsel in distress would have been the best time for him to get close to Li Xiener. At that time, Xiao Qin almost didn't pay much attention to her. He didn't even talk to her, so Li Xiener was sure that Xiao Qin definitely wasn't pursuing her. You treat? Xiao Qin was a little surprised, but he still said, okay, then we'll eat whatever you say. I say you drive. Li Xiener nodded. No problem. Xiao Qin started the car and drove according to the route Li Xiener indicated. However, what made Xiao Qin dumbfounded was that the place they came to wasn't a restaurant, but a supermarket. Is there anything delicious here? It's so remote here. Xiao Xiao looked at the supermarket outside with some confusion. The location of this supermarket was already close to Shandy Town, and the level of consumption shouldn't be high. Because the cars in the parking lot weren't full, and there weren't many good cars, Xiao Qian's car was the best here. Yes, this is it. Li Xiener nodded affirmatively and said, let's go in. Xiao Qian thought, is there a snack in the supermarket? Xiao Qian knew that in some supermarkets there would be some snacks. Although the price wasn't high, the taste was delicious. The two people followed Li Xiener all the way into the supermarket, but what made Xiao Qin even more surprised was that Li Xiener didn't take them to any snacks, but she directly found a cart and took them to the entrance of the supermarket. Are we going to the supermarket? Xiao Xiao asked, baffled. At this time, Xiao Qin had already guessed the general situation. Li Xiener was a thrifty chick. She probably wanted to buy something to cook herself so that she could save a lot of money. Sure enough, he heard Li Xiener say, I plan to cook something for you, but you don't have to worry. My cooking skills are not worse than those top chefs in the restaurant. Really? Xiao Xiao was looking forward to it after listening. Although she didn't spend much time with Li Xiener, Xiao Xiao knew that Li Xiener shouldn't be the kind of girl who lied. If she said that the food was better than the restaurant chef's, then it shouldn't be bad. Of course. Li Xianer nodded proudly. Then we'll wait and see. Xiaoqin smiled and followed in. Without asking Xiaoqin, Li Xianer bought her own food. However, Xiaoqin found that the prices in this supermarket were much cheaper. When he was in Lan City, he often went to the supermarket to buy vegetables for Su Chuxia and Tian Suru. In contrast, the prices here were very affordable. Chapter 797. Li Xianer bought a lot of ingredients, but she only spent more than 100 yuan in the end. If the three of them went to the hotel to eat these, it would cost at least 400 or 500 yuan. When paying the bill, Xiaoqin didn't fight for it. Instead, he gave Li Xianer the opportunity, but then he helped Li Xianer carry the things. Although he knew that Li Xianer was a cultivator and carrying these things was definitely not tiring, he felt that these things were better for a man to carry. After getting in the car, the three people went all the way to Shandytown. In fact, Li Xianer didn't need to say anything. Xiaoqin drove the car here. This was the first time that Xiaoqin came to Li Xianer's house. Previously, Li Xianer didn't seem to want Xiaoqin to know where she was. But now, it was unknown whether it was because Xiaoqin was too active, but Li Xianer was not so guarded against Xiaoqin. It seemed that she wanted to see what Xiaoqin wanted to do. The three people walked in Shandytown, but what surprised Xiaoqin was that he actually saw Kerlin's family coming back from closing up the stall. Kerlin was pushing the cart behind. When she saw Xiaoqin and the others, she was slightly surprised. Then there was a flash of loss or disappointment on her face. Xiaoqin was still the same as before. He was so fickle. He actually hooked up with two great beauties at once. Although Kerlin didn't know one of them, she knew that she also lived in Shandytown and could see her sometimes. She didn't know the other one, but she was as beautiful as Li Xianer. Kerlin, why did you close up the stall? Xiaoqin naturally saw Kerlin, so he walked over and asked curiously. Mom said to go back and clean up. In the afternoon we will go to the new venue. She just came back to replenish some ingredients. Kerlin explained. Oh, let me help you push. Xiaoqin said as he wanted to push the cart. No, I won't bother you anymore. You should get busy with your own things. Kerlin quickly shook her head. I can do it myself. When Kerlin saw the two beauties, she felt a little ashamed. She felt that Xiaoqin came to help her, and the two beauties looked at her differently, so she quickly refused. She didn't want to be hated by others and make them feel like she was trying to steal someone else's boyfriend. It's just something along the way. Xiaoqin walked over without any explanation and helped Lin Ke push the cart. I really don't need it. Hurry up and accompany your girlfriend. Kerlin whispered. Oh, one of them is my sister, and the other is my sister's classmate. Xiaoqin said, not my girlfriend. Oh? She didn't know why, but Kerlin seemed to be relieved, but she didn't know whether she was relieved or not. She didn't know why. Xiaoqin pushed the cart all the way to the door of Kerlin's house. Then he said goodbye to Lin father and Lin mother and left. Kerlin pursed her lips. In the end, she didn't invite Xiaoqin into the house to drink a glass of water. Kuer, Xiaoqin is very good to you. Mother Lin was listening to the conversation between the two people. When Xiaoqin left, she immediately asked. Oh? Kerlin didn't know what her mother meant. Do you like him too? Mother Lin suddenly asked. I don't. Kerlin shook her head in a hurry. If you don't like him, why are you jealous? I can see it. When you saw the two girls, you were a little unhappy. Then, when you heard that they are Xiaoqian's sister and his sister's classmate, you became happy again. Mother Lin observed very carefully. I didn't. Kerlin was embarrassed. Mom supports you being together with Xiaoqin. You're about to go to university, so you should consider dating. Mother Lin said to Lin Ke with a serious expression. But he has a girlfriend. And not just one. He has a fiancé. Kerlin shook her head. I see. Mother Lin was a little surprised. Really? How can there be several? He has a fiancé? How old is he? He already has a fiancé? Don't lie to Mom. Mom, in fact, Xiaoqin is the young master of the Xiao family in Songning. Have you heard of the Xiao family? Kerlin had to say, it's the Xiao family that has been discussed recently and is expected to become the first family in Songning. What? Mother Lin was completely shocked this time. You said that Xiaoqin is the young master of the Xiao family? Are you kidding? The young master is selling fried dough sticks? Is he here to experience life? There were some problems in the Xiao family before, but now it's all good. Kerlin shook her head. I'm not lying to you. Tang Tang is also a member of the aristocratic Tang family. It's also because of some problems in the family that she is self-reliant. And she is Xiao Chen's girlfriend. Xiao Chen also has a fiancé named Qing Minjing. She was once a member of the Qing family, the first aristocratic family in Songning. Mother Lin felt that the aristocratic families were unattainable. She usually only heard about the legends after meals, but she didn't expect to know someone from the aristocratic families. But thinking about it, the aristocratic families were really not ordinary. A young master had several girlfriends, and he even had a fiancé. But thinking about it, she heard that those aristocratic families practiced ancient martial arts. They all maintained the ancient style, which couldn't be measured by the rules of the secular world. So Mom, you don't have to say it. First of all, I don't want to compete with other girls and I can't compete. Kerlin said. Second of all, my family background is not high enough. They may not really like me. Maybe they just want to play around. I'm not that stupid and I'm not that unclean. That might not necessarily be the case. I often watch palace dramas and TV dramas with big courtyards. Usually, it's easier for a woman without any background to become the queen of a harem. Otherwise, if a woman with a powerful family takes over, there will definitely be endless trouble. After Mother Lin heard about Xiao Chen's identity, she was immediately somewhat moved. Previously, she only thought that Xiao Chen had the ability and money. Now, it wasn't a simple problem of ability and money. If Kerlin married into the Xiao family, she would definitely rise from the bottom to the upper class. Mom, you're thinking too much. Kerlin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Didn't you see the news? Aren't those young models beautiful? It's fine if they just want to play around. Why should they look for me? Sai, you're right. Mother Lin shook her head and dispelled her unrealistic fantasy. Let me tell you, don't always try to matchmake Ku'er. Ku'er is old and she knows what she's doing. Why are you always getting involved? Father Lin listened to the conversation between the mother and daughter and finally couldn't bear it anymore. Are you encouraging your daughter to participate in the palace fighting of a big family? Don't you understand it when you watch TV? With Ku'er's character, if she goes and gets poisoned to death, what do you think? Ugh. Mother Lin thought about it and agreed. The internal fighting of these big families was much more cruel than imagined. If someone was unhappy with Kerlin and directly killed Ku'er, then she would cry to death. Kerlin suddenly thought of Xiao Chen killing people. This kind of situation where people's lives were like grass seemed to be nothing in the eyes of these ancient martial arts families. Although Kerlin felt that Qing Minjing couldn't poison her to death, she probably wouldn't be happy about it. Because of the topic just now, the three of them walked into the house gloomily and began to prepare things for the afternoon. After Xiao Chen sent Kerlin off, he walked back to Li Xiener and Xiao Zhao's place. It was on the way and Li Xiener's house was a few steps away. Brother, is this the little lover you mentioned outside? Why does she look so weak like a punching bag? Xiao Xiao saw Xiao Chen come back and asked with a smile. You have another one here? Li Xiener was even more surprised. She had previously believed that Tian Suruan and Su Chuxiao were Xiao Chen's lovers. Xian, it sounds like you also know that my brother has another one outside? Xiao Xiao caught the word still in Li Xiener's words. No. Li Xiener shook her head quickly. If she said it, she would have to explain why she went to Lan City, and the matter of catching ghosts would inevitably be exposed. By then, the matter of the cultivators would be exposed. Oh. Xiao Xiao didn't ask further. In her opinion, when Xiao Chen was with Tang Tang, Xin Jingxian, Qing Minjing, Jin Beibei, and Yi Xiaoye, Li Xiener might have seen them. Even if she knew which one it was, it didn't matter. Li Xiener's house was a bungalow, but the yard was very well maintained. There were exquisite fences and clusters of nursery beds, in which all kinds of medicinal herbs were planted. Xiao Chen was a little surprised, similar to Yi Xiaoye's. In the yard there was a cute curly-haired dog. Generally, people who lived in bungalows had dogs, so it was not unusual. However, this puppy was quite cute and clean, which was a little surprising. It seemed that it often bathed and took care of itself. However, what surprised Xiao Chen more was that this puppy had a faint aura similar to that of Invincible Dog. Could it be that it was also influenced by the herb garden? It's a little small, don't mind it. Li Xiener opened the door and invited Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao in. It was a small house with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. The area was not big, but the inside was as clean and tidy as the outside. It's very nice, very warm. Xiao Xiao praised. She had also been to bungalows, but the impression that they usually gave her was that they were shabby and dirty. However, Li Xiener's house was not like that. Hee, I just clean up when I have nothing to do. Li Xiener smiled and said, I'll go and cook. You guys take a rest. I'll help you. Xiao Xiao was embarrassed to sit and wait to eat, so she said, I'll help too. Xiao Qin said, You two can cook too? Li Xian'er shook her head. All right, you two young masters and young ladies. Don't be a hindrance to me. Don't look down on people. My brother used to sell youtiao in the morning market. At that time there was a long line to buy it. Xiao Xiao said unconvincingly, It's more like I don't know how to cook. I'll just help you wash the vegetables and help you. My brother is amazing. Are you serious? Xiao Qin, you also sold youtiao? Li Xian'er was surprised. Otherwise, how did I know Kerlin? My previous youtiao stall is now given to her. Xiao Qin nodded affirmatively. Chapter 798. That's fine. How about this? You make a dish that you're good at and you can do it yourself. I'll do the rest myself. Let's see who can cook better. Li Xian'er didn't seem to want Xiao Qin to participate in her cooking process. Oh, I'm good at everything. I'll do what you're not good at. Xiao Qin said. You're bragging. Li Xian'er was amused when she heard it. I'm good at everything too. Then let's split it in half. Xiao Qin smiled. It's faster this way. Otherwise, when will you finish buying so many things? That's fine too. Li Xian'er thought about it and agreed. Anyway, she had 2 stoves at home. So Xiao Qin, Xiao Xiao, and Li Xian'er went to the kitchen and got busy. Although the kitchen was small, it was very lively. Xiao Xiao was responsible for washing the vegetables. Xiao Qin and Li Xian'er chose the ingredients separately. However, when it came to cutting vegetables, Li Xian'er didn't let Xiao Qin and Xiao Xiao intervene. She did it herself. Li Xian'er's skillful cutting skills surprised Xiao Qin, and Xiao Qin's skills surprised Li Xian'er too. It seemed that they weren't bragging. At least, the level of cutting was comparable to that of a big restaurant. Hua. The two's first dish was put into the pot almost at the same time. As the aroma filled the air, of course, some dishes didn't necessarily taste good just because they smelled good. The amount of seasoning also affected most of the taste. Both of them were making home-cooked dishes, but the difficulty was quite high. The more ordinary a dish was, the more one could distinguish who was better. Xiao Qin made san xian di and Li Xian'er made double-cooked pork. These 2 dishes were both chef assessment dishes. However, it was obvious that the color and aroma of the 2 dishes were comparable. They were quickly placed on the table and the second dish continued. Both of them were very fast. In about an hour, 12 dishes were placed on the table in order, and the aroma filled the air. Gosh, you two will definitely be popular if you open a restaurant. Xiao Xiao drooled and praised. Hee, if I live in seclusion one day, I might really want to open a restaurant, but I don't know who can accompany me through this long life. Li Xian'er said with some emotion. As a cultivator, her lifespan was very long. If she had nothing else to do, Li Xian'er really planned to open a small shop and spend the long years there. However, in her eyes, the person who would protect her was definitely not Xiao Qin. Although Xiao Qin was a top warrior and his lifespan had been extended, the difference between him and a cultivator was too great. Unless Xiao Qin's martial arts had reached the pinnacle, he wouldn't be able to make up for this gap. My brother. Xiao Xiao subconsciously felt that Li Xian'er was confessing her love. In fact, it sounded like it. In this kind of situation and tone, only Xiao Qin was suitable for her choice. Li Xian'er was stunned. She had only subconsciously sighed. She didn't expect Xiao Xiao to directly say such a sentence. She suddenly felt a little awkward. Xiao Xiao, your brother and I are not suitable. Yes, she is so guarded against me. It's meaningless for me to be with her. In fact, Xiao Qin was considering whether he should talk to Li Xian'er about the fact that they were both cultivators. After all, it was not a good idea to be so guarded against her. However, out of caution, Xiao Qin restrained himself from this idea. Li Xian'er could only be regarded as a beginner, but Xiao Qin was already an expert in the great completion of foundation establishment stage and would soon break through to the gold core stage. This level was already not weak. He was not afraid that after telling Li Xian'er, she would ask him for advice. He was mainly afraid that she would leak the secret. What if there was a cultivator behind Li Xian'er? What if others knew? What if there was a more powerful existence? These were all things that Xiao Qin had to consider carefully. For this cultivation girl whom he had only met a few times, Xiao Qin couldn't tell her the truth. Xiao Qin was not stupid. Tiske, you can't even think about it? Li Xian'er curled her lips as if she was implying something. Of course, Xiao Qin understood that he wanted to secretly learn about cultivation. I'm afraid that you will rely on me, Xiao Qin said. Only a ghost would rely on you. Li Xianer curled her lips. You don't say. I really know ghosts. Xiaochen looked at Li Xianer with a faint smile. Ahem, don't talk about those things. Li Xianer warned. Oh. Xiaochen shrugged indifferently. However, Xiao Xiao was very curious. Brother, what's the matter? There seems to be a secret between you two? Actually, there isn't. I just met her accidentally once. She was dressed like a ghost. Xiaochen said. Of course, he didn't mean to lie to Xiao Xiao, but Li Xianer was also there, so he couldn't say it in detail. Li Xianer bared her teeth and wanted to bite Xiaochen to death, but she couldn't refute it. Even if she refuted it, Xiao Xiao would still be confused. It was better to admit it directly. When the dishes were served, the three of them sat around. Try my cooking. Li Xianer changed the topic. My cooking is top-notch. Let's try my brother's first. Xiao Xiao picked up the san xian made by Xiaochen and put it in her mouth. Then she said in surprise, Brother, the dishes you make are really super delicious. Of course, why would I lie to you? Xiaochen smiled. Hey, try mine too. Mine is better than his. Li Xianer was a little unhappy. She said that she would treat, but now it was Xiaochen who was in the limelight. However, she was confident because she added ingredients in the dishes she made. No matter how great the chef Xiaochen was or how he was comparable to the chefs in five-star hotels, it was useless. There was a natural gap. Xiao Xiao picked up the yuxiang shredded pork made by Li Xianer with her chopsticks. The taste was really good, so she praised, It's delicious and not bad. This is the best yuxiang shredded pork I've ever eaten. There is no other. Right. Li Xianer was very proud. Then between your brother and me, who's better at cooking? It's hard to say. They're both delicious. Xiao Xiao thought about it and said. There has to be a winner, right? Li Xianer asked persistently. Isn't it simple? There's a dish that we prepared a little too many ingredients. We'll each make a plate and let Xiao Xiao have a taste. Whoever is the best will be the best. Xiaochen smiled as he pointed at the plate of shredded potatoes on the table. This was the simplest dish, but it was not easy to make it well. It had to be sour, spicy, and crispy. The heat and knife skills were very important. Because there were more potatoes, both of them took some and made shredded potatoes so they overlapped. That's a good idea. Li Xianer also agreed. Only two of the same dishes can tell which is better. Xiao Xiao, try it now. Xiao Xiao took a bite of Xiaochen's shredded potatoes. After tasting it for a while, she took a bite of Li Xianer's. Both kinds of shredded potatoes seemed to be delicious, but after tasting it, she finally hesitated for a while and said, It seems that my brother's is better. Impossible. Li Xianer suddenly became anxious and stared at Xiao Xiao. You can't be biased just because he is your brother. I'm really not biased. Xiao Xiao shook her head and said, If you don't believe me, try it yourself. Then I'll try it myself. Li Xianer said as she picked up the chopsticks and took a bite of Xiaochen's shredded potatoes. At first, she didn't think much of it, but after chewing it twice, her face suddenly became very interesting, revealing an incredible shock. How can it be so delicious? But I believe that mine is better. After Li Xianer finished speaking, she took a bite of the shredded potatoes she made. Although it was also very delicious, her six senses were also very sharp. She immediately noticed the subtle difference. Xiao Xiao tasted the problem after eating a few bites, but Li Xianer knew that Xiaochen's was better than hers after only one bite. She was a little unwilling, so she tasted it again. The result was still the same. The shredded potatoes made by Xiaochen are indeed better than mine. Do you believe me now? Looking at Li Xianer's expression, Xiaochen knew that she must have acquiesced to his opinion. How can this be? Xiaochen, how did you do it? How can you make it better than me? Li Xianer looked at Xiaochen incredulously. What's wrong with that? I'm a professional chef. I've said it before. It's normal for your level to be worse than mine. Xiaochen smiled disapprovingly. But. Li Xianer hesitated for a long time, but she didn't know what to say. Could it be that I added primordial energy to the food? In this way it would definitely be more delicious than those five-star hotels. But it wasn't good to say this in front of Xiao Xiao. She could only glare at Xiaochen with hatred. Okay, is it more meaningful than these things? Let's eat quickly. It's getting cold. Xiaochen smiled and said, Although Li Xianer's level is a little worse than mine, it's still very good. Li Xianer was dissatisfied. It must be a coincidence. I'll try other dishes. After Li Xianer finished speaking, she began to eat other dishes made by Xiaochen. However, after eating a circle, she was shocked. She could also make these dishes, but she had to admit that the taste was different from Xiao Chen's. It was just that she couldn't understand why she obviously added primordial energy to the food, but it was not as good as Xiao Chen's. Of course, how could she know that she, a beginner cultivator, was comparable to the foundation establishment stage's great perfection? After eating the food made by Xiao Chen, Li Xianer was a little dispirited. She didn't talk much during the meal, but Xiao Xiao ate happily. Xiao Chen also ate a lot. Okay, we've all eaten. You cooked well too. Xiao Chen looked at Li Xianer's sullenness and he was amused. Cultivators also have the temper of a little girl. Of course, Xiao Chen knew why Li Xianer was unhappy, but what could her meager primordial energy do? After lunch, Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao also said goodbye. They also saw that Li Xianer was not in a good mood and didn't want to talk much. Naturally, they didn't stay any longer. They said goodbye and left Shanty Town. Chapter 799. After Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao left, Li Xianer picked up her chopsticks again in surprise and carefully tasted the dishes made by Xiao Chen. To be honest, she really felt that the dishes made by Xiao Chen were more delicious. However, this made her feel that it was unlikely. The seasonings were all there and there was nothing special about them. Of course, this wasn't the key point. The key point was that she secretly added the seasonings. Could it be that Xiao Chen also had some seasonings on him and secretly added them when I wasn't paying attention? Thinking of this, Li Xianer couldn't help but feel that it was very likely. This guy wouldn't use some harmful seasonings like big tobacco shells, right? Li Xianer quickly and carefully ate a few more mouthfuls of the dishes made by Xiao Chen, but then she immediately denied this idea. Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao also ate. If he really added these, why would they eat it themselves? Moreover, Li Xianer was also confident that she could taste something different. In addition to the aroma of the food itself, there was no other smell at all. It seemed that Xiao Chen really controlled the food well and brought out the greatest aroma of the food itself. Alas, this made Li Xianer very sad. Originally, she thought that she was invincible in these aspects because she was a cultivator. She didn't know that it was not the case at all. Shaking her head, Li Xianer began to pack up her things. In her heart, she was still thinking about the purpose of Xiao Chen approaching her. She was a little regretful that she admitted that she was a cultivator in front of Xiao Chen. One had to know that cultivators were a very secretive group. Under normal circumstances, they couldn't be disclosed to outsiders. Therefore, after Li Xianer said her own things, she didn't mention anything else. When Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao arrived home, they saw that the people of the Xie family and the Yu family were still busy at home. It seemed that the battle with the Tsin family of real martial arts would not end in the next few days. However, Xiao Chen didn't want to participate in these business matters. It was enough for the Xie family to handle these business matters. In the mall, Tsin Wuming was beaten up quite badly. Although he wasn't injured, his face was bruised. In the security room he was about to go crazy. What the F*** CK Wang Jinbrick, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You tricked me? Wang Jinbrick was also very innocent. He didn't know that Tsin Wuming would rush in, but he didn't dare to say it. He could only lower his head and apologize. I'm sorry, young Master Xin. It's my fault. And you? I already told you that I'm Tsin Wuming and you're still scratching me? Scratch, 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 are you crazy? Tsin Wuming didn't care if anyone was there or not. He tore off the girl's clothes like a madman. I'm spying on you? Fine, I still want to F*** you. The young female delinquent was so scared that she didn't dare to make a sound. She was just an outer member of the Black Crow's gang. How would she know that she had scratched the young master of the Black Crow's gang? This was really courting death, but she was also a little excited. Being able to have a relationship with Tsin Wuming, didn't that mean that she could have a meteoric rise in the future? Of course she didn't take the initiative. She just cooperated with Tsin Wuming in a pitiful manner. Manager Yang stood at the side, feeling a little awkward. He kept wiping his cold sweat. The business negotiation in the mall had entered the final step. It was going to be the Tsin family's property soon. In the end, he wanted to please the new owner, but he didn't get to do so. He hoped that after Tsin Wuming vented on this young female delinquent, he would be able to calm down. This young female delinquent used to be a prostitute. She knew all kinds of tricks like the back of her hand. At this moment, she displayed 120% of her ability and served Tsin Wuming very happily. Not bad. Tsin Wuming hugged the young female delinquent and leaned on the sofa. He had a cigarette in his mouth and asked faintly, "Tell me, how do you want to deal with that Xiao Chen?" This. Wang Jinbrick was also in a difficult position. Today's plan had failed. It would be even more difficult to deal with Xiaoqin. Not only did they not have a chance, but most importantly, he was prepared and wouldn't be easily fooled. Forget it. That's all you can do. Sun Wuming was in a good mood, so he didn't blame Wang Jinbrick too much. In fact, he knew in his heart that he wanted to see Xiaoqin make a fool of himself. As a result, he didn't know why his mind wasn't clear at that time. He rushed in himself. He really couldn't blame others for this. In the end, it was his own problem, so he let it go. He hugged the young female delinquent and went out of the office. He said, "You are busy. Forget about today's matter." "Thank you, young Master Sun." Wang Jinbrick and manager Yang quickly thanked him. In the next few days, Xiaoqin lived at home. He didn't go to school because there were no familiar people there. Instead, it became a sad place. When he went there and saw Sun Wuming fooling around with Xiaoqin, he was even more upset. Every day he would send Xiao Xiao to school and then go home to rest. But sometimes after school he saw Li Xiener and Xiao Xiao coming out together, so he would send Li Xiener back to Shanty Town. What surprised Xiaoqin was that Xiao Xiao and Li Xiener had become good friends. They were often together. In fact, the reason was very simple. Xiao Xiao's previous good sister was with her boyfriend every day, and she had no time to play with Xiao Xiao. So Xiao Xiao had been playing with Li Xiener recently. "Right, when are you going to demolish this place?" Xiaoqin asked as he looked at the dilapidated shanty town. The Xiao family's industry was declining day by day, but the Qin family's industry was thriving. Of course, these rumors were spread by the Qin family. There was only one purpose, which was to let the local aristocratic families of Songning know the consequences of offending the Qin family. It also let these people see the situation clearly and not help the Xiao family. As for whether the Xiao family's industry was really declining day by day, they didn't know. They didn't actually investigate it. They just speculated the situation of their opponents based on the popularity of their own industry. Their own hotel industry was full. Their own shopping malls and stores were sold out in seconds every time they purchased goods. Under such a situation, would their opponents still have room to survive? They couldn't even think about it. Because the consumer market in Songning was only so big. There were only so many people staying in hotels and buying things. If these people stayed in hotels and bought things, how could the Xiao family have a share? Director Qin, the Xiao family is probably worried to death now. The assistant proudly reported the latest situation to Qin Jiejin. Of course, Qin Jiejin was happy. His wallet was also full and the bonus every time was a lot. Well done. According to the report, our hotel is full every day. The Xiao family must have no customers. In this way we can carry out the next step of the plan. Qin Jiejin nodded with satisfaction. Yes, the Xiao family's hotel is losing money every day. It definitely won't last long. The assistant smiled apologetically and said, "When we go there we can buy them at a low price. This is a great contribution to the Qin family's expansion of the Songning market." "Well, there's no hurry. Let's delay them for a few more days. Let's wait until they die," Qin Jiejin said casually with a superior look. "That's right, Director Xian. When the time comes we can also buy the Xiao family's stores. With the two of us negotiating we can even lower the price." The assistant smirked and said, "The Xiao family is losing money every day. When the time comes they will have to agree to our request for a package purchase." If we come forward to refute the rumors, people will say that we are trying to cover up. Nowadays, many business acquisitions will not admit it until the last moment. Instead, they will try their best to deny it. This way, regardless of whether the acquisition is successful or not, they will be in an invincible position. On the contrary, the acquiring party doesn't care. The higher the profile, the better. Even if it doesn't succeed, it's not a big deal. Yes, and we can't say that we want to counter-acquire the Qin family's businesses. If we do, people will think that we are crazy. Yunnan sighed. "Xiaoqin, what do you think?" Xiao Hai had a headache, so he looked at Xiaoqin. "In my opinion, counter-acquisition is fine too. This Qin family of Jinwu is so annoying we might as well just acquire them." Xiaoqin didn't understand business operations, so he just said whatever he thought. Xiao Hai couldn't say anything about Xiaoqin, and Xie Huang couldn't say anything either. However, Yunnan and Xiaoqin didn't have much of a relationship, so he wanted to explain to Xiaoqin. If he did that, it would become a war of words and others would only look down on him. However, before Yunnan could speak, Yu Xiaochuan slammed the table and shouted, "Yes, let's buy them." How dare he challenge Brother Xiao, I'll scratch him to death. Yunnan looked at his problematic child and could only shut his mouth. If he said anything, it would mean that the father and son didn't get along, and that would be a bigger problem. The meeting basically set the tone for the time being, which was to ignore everything and run their own business. After a long time, the rumors about the Tsin family would collapse on their own. Although there might be some impact on the business during this period, the impact wouldn't be huge. Because the Tsin family's hotel near the Xiao family's hotel had been booked by the Xiao family's employees, and the goods in the store were all sold out. So basically, if the customers didn't come, the Xiao family had nowhere to go. They could only go to places further away. However, something that Xiao Qin or the Xiao family, the Xie family, and the Yu family didn't expect happened. On this day when Xiao Qin had just woken up, and Xiao Xiao hadn't woken up yet, there was a hurried knock on the door. Xiao Qin was slightly stunned and asked, "Who is it?" "What's the matter?" "Xiao Qin, it's your second uncle. Open the door." The voice of his second uncle, Xiao Hai, came from outside the door. Xiao Qin was shocked. He could hear that his second uncle's tone was very hurried. He and Xiao Xiao slept together every day secretly. They didn't tell the family, and Xiao Hai was also busy with business matters, so he didn't pay attention to it. Although there was nothing between the two of them, Xiao Xiao was a young lady living in Xiao Chen's villa every day. If this spread out, it would make people's imaginations run wild, especially Xiao Hai. So, Xiao Chen subconsciously thought that his second uncle had discovered something. "Open the door. Something's wrong," Xiao Hai said in an unfriendly tone. "All right," Xiao Chen said. "She died, then so be it." He couldn't explain it even if he wanted to. After Xiao Xiao took a bath last night, she didn't wear any clothes when she went to bed. Although Xiao Chen had been sitting at the side and cultivating, if Xiao Hai found out, would he believe that nothing happened between the two of them? Xiao Chen had already guessed that his second uncle was probably here to interrogate him. He opened the door with trepidation. "Second uncle, it's so early in the morning. Brother, what's wrong? Who's knocking on the door so early in the morning?" Xiao Xiao was woken up by the noise. She walked out in a daze with a blanket draped over her, yawning. Obviously, she hadn't noticed her father outside the door. Xiao Hai looked at Xiao Xiao. Actually, from Xiao Xiao's smooth calves, he could tell that she wasn't wearing any clothes under the blanket. Even if she was wearing underwear, Xiao Hai only took a glance and didn't say anything. Instead, he said to Xiao Qin, "Xiao Qin, there's an emergency that I want to discuss with you. After all, your current status and identity are different from before. You should be the one making the decisions for the Xiao family." "What do I have to make the decisions for? What emergency?" Xiao Qin was a little stunned. This wasn't what he had expected. He thought that his second uncle would flip out, especially when Xiao Xiao walked out just now. He subconsciously thought that he was going to die. Just when he was worried, Xiao Hai said such a strange thing. "It's like this. A person called Tsin Jiejin came to the headquarters of the Xiao family group. This person is the person in charge of the Tsin family in Songning City. He brought a few subordinates and said that he wanted to discuss the acquisition of our hotel and store." Xiao Hai said, "Not only that, there were also a lot of news media gathered downstairs. They said that they wanted to interview us. If it wasn't for the security downstairs stopping them, they would have come up." What the hell? Did the Tsin family take the wrong medicine? Xiao Qin only then understood that this had nothing to do with Xiao Xiao. It was the Tsin family's doing. Xiao Qin suddenly got angry. Damn it, this Tsin Jiejin and his son are not good people. Doing this in the morning, this guy scared me. End of Volume 2. Xiao Qin, you mean that we should adopt the first plan and deal with them forcefully? Xiao Qin, you go. Marshal Teat shout the Yonktis right. Es shout have the shout Teat. Xiao Hai will it. He said he wants to acquire it. I think he's daydreaming. He should go home and masturbate. When Xiao Qin said this, he couldn't help but think of Tian Soran. Although Tian Suruan was a bit of a gold digger, Xiao Qin could tell that this girl was not really a gold digger after interacting with her for a period of time. She just lacked a sense of security. It probably had something to do with her family. Since she did not say anything, Xiao Qin did not ask. However, he missed her a little after not seeing her for a while. That's fine. Since that's the case, I'll reply to him now. Since Xiao Qin had already made his decision, Xiao Hai would do as he was told. In any case, in his opinion, it was all thanks to Xiao Qin that the Xiao clan could reach where it was today. Otherwise, the Xiao clan would have been finished long ago. He was hesitant before, but now with Xiao Qin's decision, Xiao Hai wasn't worried anymore. He drove directly to the company and didn't even look at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, who was standing on the side, was stunned. Brother, was I invisible just now? I don't know, but second uncle may have been too worried about the company and didn't see you. Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. It's okay. If my dad saw me sleeping with you, he would beat me to death. Xiao Xiao stuck out her tongue and patted her chest with a sigh of relief. It's better to beat me to death, okay? Xiaoqin continued to smile bitterly. I can't. He didn't see me. Xiao Xiao yawned. Brother, I'm going back to sleep. Who knows if he will remember it afterward. Xiaoqin didn't sleep. He was ready to put on his clothes and go to the Xiao family's company. In his opinion, the Qin family wouldn't give up so easily. This could be seen from Qin Wuming's character. Xiao Hai rushed to the Xiao family's company and saw that there were already several people sitting in the conference room. The person sitting in the main seat wasn't Xie Huang or Yunnan, but Qin Jiajin. Sitting next to Qin Jiajin was Qin Wuming. He had come to broaden his horizons, but there was also a delinquent girl sitting next to him. This delinquent girl had served him well, so Qin Wuming brought her along wherever he went. This delinquent girl was lucky. It was a blessing in disguise. She directly became Qin Wuming's woman. On the other side of Qin Jiajin, there were two assistants, Little Wang and Little Lu. Recently they had been helping with planning and practical operations. These two people could be said to be the heroes in dealing with the Xiao family's war. Qin Jiajin came today to acquire the company, so he didn't stand on ceremony. We are here to buy your money-losing businesses, to save you. Otherwise, with your current state of business, you will die. Qin Wuming slammed the table and said angrily. You don't have to worry about this. However, if you don't leave, I will call the security and the media downstairs to let them see the mental patients of the Qin family. Xiao Hai was also unhappy. Why is this Qin Jiajin so stubborn? What's wrong with not understanding? Can't he see that my attitude is that of a falling out? And he's still so tactless, forcing me to make things difficult for him? You're courting death. Qin Jiajin's expression changed. When had he ever been humiliated like this? Subconsciously, his aura surged and he punched Xiao Hai in front of him. Xiao Hai was only a martial artist at the peak of Stage 8 Inner Force, and this was the result of years of hard work. However, Qin Jiajin was a martial artist at Stage 10 Inner Force. This level was already considered very powerful in the Jinwu family. The fist carried a violent aura. Obviously, Qin Jiajin's anger was soaring, so he used all his strength. One was at Stage 10 Inner Force, and the other was at the peak of Stage 8 Inner Force. They were not on the same level at all. If Xiao Hai was hit by this punch, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. Therefore, Xiao Hai was shocked and angry at this moment. He subconsciously retreated, but the distance between them was very close. Qin Jiajin's speed was also very fast. Even if Xiao Hai wanted to dodge, it was not that easy. Just as he was about to be hit, a big hand reached over and slapped Qin Jiajin's fist. Kacha. The crisp sound of bones breaking was heard. Qin Jiajin's hand was considered crippled. Even if it recovered, it would not be the same as before. Qin Jiajin was a martial artist, and martial artists trained the body. With such a serious injury on his fist, his strength would probably be greatly reduced. Ouch. Qin Jiajin let out a blood-curdling scream as he was forced to take a few steps back by the force of Xiao Chen's palm. He directly smashed through two conference tables before falling to the ground. The pain made him sweat profusely. Chapter 803. Qin Jiajin didn't argue any further and left the Xiao family's company. However, their embarrassing appearance was captured by the company's media. What are you taking pictures of? Do you want to die? Qin Wuming said angrily. You. Qin Jiajin wanted to stop Qin Wuming, but it was too late. The reason was that Qin Wuming's attitude would definitely be recorded by the media. Then tomorrow's news would be different. For example, Qin family's business was acquired and the young master of Qin family was angry. Or Qin family's business failed and they vented their anger on the media. At this time, the best thing to do was to remain silent and not respond. However, it was too late. Everyone, our Qin family and the Xiao family are negotiating a normal business cooperation. Please wait for the final result. I hope everyone can understand. Although Qin Jiajin was arrogant, he didn't want to offend these uncrowned kings. Mr. Qin, is the Qin family acquiring the Xiao family or the Xiao family acquiring the Qin family? A media asked. Please wait for the latest official news. Sun Jejin waved his hand, then quickly got into the car and left with the second priest and others. After Sun Jejin went back, he first treated his hand and then called his father, Sun Yizhong. How did this happen? Sun Yizhong didn't blame Sun Jejin too much. After all, in his opinion, the Sun family's business in Songning had been operating well and was about to surpass the Xiao family. However, there was a problem at the last stage. In fact, Sun Jejin couldn't be blamed for this. The Xiao family suddenly had a devil general. This was an existence that the Sun family didn't have. Even if he blamed Sun Jejin, what was the use? I don't know. The Xiao family is just an ordinary family. It's incredible that they could have a devil general. Sun Jejin said gloomily. Alright, I'll investigate the identity of Xiao Chen. A worldly family will never have a devil general. They don't have this kind of background. Sun Yizhong hung up the phone and began to ask people to investigate. On the other side, the second high priest was in a hurry to make a call to report the situation to the Sun family of the outer martial arts world. The Sun family of the outer martial arts world was a demonic sect family. There were many demonic cultivators in the family. The person who answered the phone was the great elder of the Sun family of the outer martial arts world, Sun Chiba. The family head doesn't know about this yet, but since this has happened, we have to find a way to solve it. Otherwise, how will the Sun family of the outer martial arts world keep its face? Sun Chiba said angrily. Yes, that's why I asked the great elder to send out experts. I think as long as 2 experts of the devil general level can firmly suppress that Xiao Chen. The second priest said. How could I not know that? But sending 1 is enough. If we send 2, then others will think that our Sun family can't even deal with a secular family. Why would we send so many experts? Sun Chiba frowned and said, what level do you think that Xiao Chen is at? What's his specific standard? Don't call me old devil master, devil master. A devil master at the peak of the 10th level of perfection is also called a devil master. This should be at the 1st or 2nd level of the devil master level. The second high priest recalled and combined it with his own injuries. Well, that's fine. There's no need for 2. I'll send an expert to talk to him. It'll be best if he doesn't make a move, less people talk about it behind his back. Sun Chiba said, according to the situation you mentioned, I'll send a 5th level devil general to completely suppress Xiao Chen. That's great. The second high priest didn't expect the great elder to send a 5th level devil general expert. He was instantly overjoyed. Then this time we'll definitely make the Xiao family compromise. And wait for the news. Also find out if Xiao Chen has any other background. No matter how powerful the secular Xiao family is, they can't produce a devil general, not even a devil master. Sun Chiba ordered. Yes. The second high priest answered. On this side, both sides finished communicating. On the other side, Sun Jejin also obtained some information on Xiao Chen. He anxiously came to find the second high priest to discuss countermeasures. Sun Jejin, the upper family is very angry about this. They're also very angry about your lack of information before. However, under my mediation, the upper family still plans to give you a chance. The second high priest said. Thank you for your help, second high priest. Sun Jejin hurriedly cupped his fists and thanked the second high priest. However, he was a little troubled. But I can't do it now. I'm also very helpless. I have no other way. I'm not a match at all and I can't do anything to the Xiao family. Although Sun Jejin was very grateful that the second high priest spoke up for him, if the upper family blamed him, he would lose his position as the heir to the young master. However, the main problem now was, even if he mediated, how could he salvage the situation? This isn't a problem. The upper family is preparing to send a 5th level devil general expert. With such an expert by your side, do you still have to be afraid of the Xiao family? The second high priest smiled faintly. Really? Sun Jejin was overjoyed when he heard this. His whole body trembled with excitement. They're sending such an expert for me? Then I'll definitely make the Xiao family pay with blood. Second high priest, you'll see when the time comes. I'll make the Xiao family lower the price to the lowest. From Sun Jejin's point of view, when the 5th level devil general took action, Xiao Chen's current identity wouldn't be a problem at all. Chapter 804. But Xiao Hai didn't care about these. If Xiao Xiao and Xiao Chen were together, it would be a good thing. The two of them would be even closer. As he was thinking about these things, Xia Huang and Yunnan came. When they heard that the Sun family agreed to the acquisition, they were very happy. These properties were all good properties that the Tsin family had just acquired, and they had put in a lot of effort in the negotiation. If they could buy them all at once, it would be worthwhile even at the original price. But with this opportunity to bargain, they naturally wouldn't let it go. Immediately, the three of them found a lawyer and assistant and prepared to start the liquidation of the Tsin family's current assets. They were ready to come up with the most reasonable price, and then negotiate based on this price. For a time, the entire Xiao family's company was busy. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Tsin Jejin brought his people to the Xiao family's company on time. Under the Xiao family's company, several media outlets were called. This time it was the Tsin family who called them. This situation made Xiao Hai a little confused. It was obviously a shameful thing for the Tsin family. It was obviously the acquisition of the Xiao family, but now it became the Xiao family's acquisition of the Tsin family. How could they still call so many media outlets? But no matter what, this saved some trouble for the Xiao family. They didn't need to call them a second time. Mr. Tsin, you are here. Welcome. Xiao Hai's attitude toward him also became a lot better because the other party agreed to the cooperation. Hehe, Mr. Xiao Hai, you are quite active. Tsin Jejin smiled and said, then shall we start now? Okay, we can start. Xiao Hai nodded. Both sides sat down in the conference room. Then when Xiao Hai was about to speak, he heard Tsin Jejin said first, according to our calculations, the Xiao family's store and hotel are worth about 600 million. But based on the current business situation, it is only worth the price of real estate. So, our final offer is 300 million. What? Xiao Hai suddenly widened his eyes. What did you say? What 600 million and 300 million? Didn't we agree to discuss the acquisition? Why did you? Yeah, that's right. Isn't this acquisition? Tsin Jejin laughed mockingly and said, the acquisition we are talking about is the Tsin family acquiring the Xiao family. What else do you think it is? Xiao family acquiring Tsin family? Are you dreaming? You. Tsin Jejin. Did you forget the pain after the scar healed? Don't you remember how you got out that day? Xiao Hai was instantly enraged. Are you messing with us? How is it fooling you? You've made it very clear. Tsin Jejin said indifferently, we are very sincere in our cooperation. For this purchase, the Tsin family of the outer martial arts world has also sent someone over to supervise the situation. Chapter 805. Ha 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 ha. Tsin Wuming laughed. Xiaoqin, weren't you acting cool in front of us? Weren't you very powerful? Didn't you tell me to get lost? Xiaoqin could not be bothered with him. He looked around and his gaze landed on the Tsin clan's elder. Xiaoqin walked over on his own. Then, to everyone's bewilderment, he suddenly made a move and picked up the Tsin family's elder. Then he casually threw him against the wall with a loud clang. The Tsin family elder was pushed into the wall of the conference room. Dumbfounded. Everyone was dumbfounded. The Xiao family looked at Xiaoqin in shock. The Tsin family's people were stunned. Xiaoqin's actions were simple and violent, but no matter how the Tsin family elder protected himself with demonic energy, it was useless. This was the difference in strength. Even now, when he was embedded in the wall, he could still feel a wave of pressure acting on his body, making him unable to free himself. Okay, Tsin Jejin, we can sign the contract. Xiaoqin smiled as he sat in the Tsin family's elder's seat. He said, there was an idiot sitting here just now. He was too much of a hindrance, so I threw him away. It's great now. We can only sign the contract if we sit close. Tsin Jejin stuttered. Second uncle, is the contract done? I think the price of 300 million is reasonable. Although it's a little much, it's still barely acceptable. After all, the Tsin family has spent a lot of effort to acquire these businesses. Don't let them suffer too much, Xiaoqin said with a smile. It's done. Xiao Hai was already a bit numb. What kind of strength did Xiaoqin have? He actually swatted a 5th-level demon general away like he was swatting a fly, and he still hasn't come out of the wall. Oh, Tsin Jejin, can we sign the contract? Xiaoqin asked. You. Tsin Jejin didn't know what to do. Hey, you still want to find someone? Then hurry up and find them. My time is limited. Don't make me anxious. Otherwise, your true marshal's Tsin family will be here soon, said Xiaoqin impatiently. At this time, the Tsin family elder finally dug himself out from the wall and pointed at Xiaoqin in shock. You're the Demon King? Oh, maybe. Xiaoqin bared his teeth. If there's nothing else, hurry up and get Tsin Jejin to sign the contract. Otherwise, I don't mind sending you to hell next time. You are the Demon King. I admit that you are very powerful, but don't be too arrogant. The Tsin family elder still had some confidence. Our Tsin family belongs to the demon sect of the outer pugilistic world. Although you are a demon king, you are just a disciple of a noble family in the secular world. If you go against our Tsin family, you will be going against the entire demon sect of the outer pugilistic world. Oh? Can you represent the outer Wulin demon sect? Xiaochen looked at the Tsin family elder playfully. Furthermore, why would the demon sect stand up for your Tsin family? You can try if you don't believe me. The Tsin family elder said proudly, you probably don't know yet? All the demon sects of the outer pugilistic world have already united together and elected a demon sect leader. When something happens to our Tsin family, the other demon sects will not sit idly by. It couldn't be helped. The Tsin family of the outer pugilistic world didn't have an expert of the Demon King level. In the outer pugilistic world, the Demon King level was basically the top. Just like the Martial King, they were both rare existences. There were only a few of them in the inner pugilistic world. Therefore, since his strength couldn't compare to Xiaochen, the Tsin family elder could only bring out his background. He hoped to use this background to suppress Xiaochen. Oh, what do you mean? Asked Xiaochen. Let's drop this matter. No one will buy anyone else. In the future we will mind our own business. How about that? The Tsin family elder asked. You have to think clearly. No matter how powerful you are just one person. We are the entire demon sect. Oh hee. Xiaochen laughed again. Are you done? Hurry up and sign the contract. Otherwise none of you can leave today. Do you believe that I will report to the family head now and let him report to the demon sect to take care of you? The Tsin family elder was a little angry. He had said so much, but it turned out that this Xiaochen was stubborn. Why did he still want to sign the contract? Anyone with a little bit of brains who could understand the situation wouldn't continue to insist on buying. Oh, then hurry up if you want to report. Xiaochen waved his hand and signaled him to hurry up. The Tsin family elder took out his phone and glanced at Xiaochen. He directly called the family head. Although the great elder Tsin Yizhang sent him, the family head still had to communicate with the demon sect. Tsin-san, didn't you go to the secular world? Why are you calling me? An old and somewhat impatient voice came from the other side. If you have something to say it quickly. I am cultivating. Family head, there's a problem? The Tsin family elder's voice was a little gloomy. That kid from the Xiao family in the secular world is actually a demon king. I am no match for him. Now he wants to buy all our properties in Songning for 300 million. Do you think? Should we report to the demon sect head and ask the Kuei Mountain sect to support us? What? Demon king? The Tsin family head seemed to be unable to believe his ears. Tsin-san, what are you saying? Family head, everything I said is true. The Tsin family elder said. Alright, tell me the name of this demon king. I will report it. The Tsin family head didn't care much before. He only heard that the Tsin family of Zhen Wu suffered a loss in Songning City in the secular world. If Xiaochen was only a demon general, if Xiaochen was only a puppet, and if he was not recognized by the Kuei Mountain sect, then the Tsin family might still have a chance to wrestle. But now the Tsin family head made the wisest choice. Ah. The Tsin family elder was instantly dumbfounded. He looked at Xiaochen in disbelief. Although he knew about the selection of the demon sect head, he did not know who became the demon sect head. This was because it had little to do with him. Before he came out, he had always been in the family. It did not matter much to him who became the demon sect head. But now he was very shocked. A disciple from the secular world was actually the demon sect head of the outer martial arts world? And a demon king level existence? This was simply beyond his imagination. The Tsin family elder wanted to say something, but the Tsin family head had already hung up the phone. This sect head Xiao. This is a misunderstanding. Our Tsin family's property in Songning is all given to you. We will leave Songning City now and never come back again. The Tsin family elder understood at this moment. Since this was the family head's order, it must be carried out to the letter. Otherwise, not only would they offend the family head, but they would also offend Xiaochen. Oh, give it to me? Do you think I look like someone who would snatch other people's things? Xiaochen retorted. This. The Tsin family elder was in a difficult position at this moment. He wanted to leave as soon as possible. He did not know how to answer Xiaochen's question. If he asked for money, he was afraid that Xiaochen was playing with him. There would be worse tricks waiting for him. If he didn't ask for money, Xiaoqin said so again. Forget it. I won't tease you anymore. Just boring. Xiaoqin waved his hand with flagging interest. You guys write the transfer agreement, and then announce to the public that the Xiao family has fully purchased the Tsin family's property in Songning. The Tsin family will withdraw from Songning. As for the price, don't mention it. Just keep it a secret. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.